We are back. We have fixed everything. Yeah, ready to kick off the stream finally with Brainerd and Rochester. We have a special guest tonight on the Rochester side. That's the GM himself, Dicey. And so, like Quick said, we might be going 1-for-1. Both teams with a sub, AO and Dicey, making their appearances tonight. We'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, this will be quite the interesting one. Hopefully, these don't stick to be the teams the entire time. But Dicey, not a slouch at all. Several times have won this league in Challenger. As we see AO kick it off right away. Wasn't really paying attention to what happened here, but not the start that Rochester is looking for.
You said Dicey's not a slouch. I think AO took that personally. Wants to be known as the more impressive sub coming in. Will score in 5 seconds for victory there. Kai. Not getting a touch on that one. Kyler in the corner. Stewie to follow up. That's a good 50 from Zebra. Zebra, we still has transfer from Green Bay Knights over to Brainerd Victory. They needed some players. So we'll have to see how that goes. And last week I saw his game. He played pretty well, so it seemed like it went pretty well at least. So we'll have to see if they can get that chemistry going. Kyler forced out a save right there. Will come out to Kai, though. Banged off the crossbar. He'll still find his way in. Stewie, no save there.
Yeah, I mean, feels like Rochester's just out to a really slow start. I mean, can't really complain too much. You're playing with a team that has probably never licked the game together before. So honestly, Brainerd doing a great job just right away, figuring out how to take down the Rochester defense as they continue to look awkward here.
I like Dicey's hat coming in too. The topper coming in. You can tell he's not taking this too seriously. Doesn't want to, take it too seriously. Have some fun with it. But Kai, there's a shot not on target at all. It wasn't even close, but will be returned. AO to take another one. Dicey all the way downfield. That might just be in off a great save forced out from Zebra. Stewie to the middle. Carlo to follow up on it. Might drop that one down. A good save from AO once again. And some good pressure from Rochester, but like you said, kind of a slow start. They haven't really had that cohesive offense that, they've had in the past.
Yeah, and I appreciate Dicey coming out with the crazy hat. 50% of the game is solely based off vibes, just having a good time with your team. And Kyler with a really good flick there. But what I was saying was, 50% of the game is actually, being able to talk to your teammates, have a good time, not get tilted at all. So bringing out the white foam hat, quite the bold move, but I love it.
Dicey's just one of those guys as well. GM and player for his franchise, just knows how to have a good time, not take things too seriously. I mean, of course you want to win. This is Premier. You kind of need the points, but, we'll have to see if they can get that together. And they have a good chance so far. I mean, got a goal back. You really want to see that come through. That's forced out. Comes out to Kyler now. 50 off the ceiling. Kai downfield. Just sends it to open space. Dicey will return. That makes Kai awkward. And I think unexpected from Kai there. Has to backflip. Half-flip all the way back to his side. Come out to Zebra now. Just lobbing that one forward. Another 50 coming through. And he seemed pretty even. As I say, that guy had a shot at target. Thought maybe he'd score it, but yeah, so far these teams seem pretty even. Maybe could be a little more precise. These shots not really going where they need to, but at least it's still a close game.
Yeah, I don't think the synchronization is quite there as we think we would see with a normal team, but a great job by Kyler here. Completely wide open net. I think a demo came out. Not too sure, but Kai awkward, and a great third man demo by Stewie opens up the floor. Kyler with a great pinch directly in the net. You love to see it.
Yeah, you do love to see it. Dicey was even on the wing in support, waiting for that pass that never came. Kyler will take the ground pinch instead, but now it's all tied up for Rochester, and I think they really needed that boost coming in. Some early goals from AO. Another chance coming in there as well. Kai will cut that one off. A little bit awkward. I see we'll have to carry it out. Getting that 50 through. Every time I see that hat, I just cannot take him seriously. But down to the middle once again. Kyler could clear out. Kai will get up to the ceiling. Back to the middle, or downfield rather. Kai up to the ceiling once again. I'm liking how Kai is trying to link his teammates together. You see Stewie pass to Kai. Kai try to get something going once again, try to return that ball. And I think that's what they really need. They need that glue. They need that chemistry because, you know, maybe not they're not the most strong team on paper, especially with that challenger sub coming in. But, you know, if a team can get their chemistry right, that can absolutely change the tide of the games here. And I see forcing out another save there for Brainerd or Rochester.
Yeah, and Ayo, not a slouch by any means, almost a super sub, if you will. A player that has played in Premier before, done a great job there. Went second round to second overall pick to Brainerd, I believe, in the Challenger draft. So, you know, he's no slouch. But I like sticking on the topic of these toppers because, you know, Rochester has Dicey's foam hat, but Brainerd has that teacup kitten. I'm not sure exactly what it's called on Zebra's top, but that one's pretty interesting.
Oh, Zebra has one too?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Hold up. Zebra, take the ball. Oh, I do see it. I can't
It's
tell
got a
what it
little
is.
kitten
from
in a
this
teacup.
distance.
I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's a kitten in a teacup.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him later, but battle of the toppers on this one. Still all tied up with 30 seconds left. We'll have to see in game one if one team can steal this one out from the other. Dicey will receive that one in the middle. Stewie crashing the net. Double commit from Brainerd there, but they do get the ball out. Ayo forward. Dicey having to make another save. Just about 10 seconds now off the backboard for Stewie. Can he get a good clear out? Kyler trying to dive in for that one, but not even close. Kyle with that flip reset, but doesn't really go anywhere. If it hits the ground, this game one will go to overtime. We'll have to see Kyler opting to do so, and overtime we go. Game one, Cole.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of space in this match so far. I'm interested to see, you know, what your thoughts are, Tibbles, on which one of these teams is the more mechanical team, which one will be able to utilize the space they're given the most to punish. Because I honestly feel like we got such weird team chemistry here. I'm not sure if these teams are, you know, used to being able to take advantage of that space, especially with the rosters they have.
For mechanical ability, I gotta give the edge to Rochester here. I think Stewie coming in with that speed. But you're right. I mean, you're completely right. It's a hard thing to answer because I've never really seen these team comps before. Yeah, it seems kind of like an odd mix for teams, but they seem to be making it work. Almost a minute in overtime now. Dicey putting one on goal. That's another double commit out from Brainerd, and that's really what I'm worried about. I don't know if it's that, you know, one team has more mechanics and that means they'll win this game. Another shot on target from Dicey. I think, you know, for Brainerd coming in, they don't necessarily have that chemistry yet. You see a lot of double commits. You see a lot of confusion on the defense, and I think that's going to stab them in the back more than lacking any mechanics could.
Yeah, for sure. And with, you know, on paper, I feel like Rochester having, you know, a lesser sub of the two. I don't want to take anything away from Dicey at all because he's a fantastic player, but, you know, Ayo going first round, Chal, Dicey picking himself third. You might have a little bit of an edge there, but, you know, pretty even matchup, and Dicey putting in work on the offensive end for sure. I mean, he's got 4 shots this game, hasn't connected on one yet, but he's doing his due diligence on the offensive side of the field.
Yeah, that's sent downfield. I will receive in the midfield. Ayo up for that one fast. I might just go in off the post, though. It's on the goal line. Double commit pinch coming out from Kyler and Stewie up to the ceiling for Zebra. Kaida try and keep possession here, and now I'm really curious to see how Kyler does because I saw him play. I think last week I saw Kyler play, and he was doing really, really well. You know, had the mechanics flying around, had the possession as well, and you know, it's been a little bit quiet this game. I haven't really seen that impact that I saw, and maybe, you know, Volt Destroyer is part of that equation because I think once Volt Destroyer shows up, it's going to be a completely different answer.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Kyler is a very mechanical player. He needs two nice, solidly grounded teammates to be able to counteract with some of the super crazy mechanical stuff he can do. And I think that's what the original, you know, Rochester team brings with Volt and Stewie.
Yep.
And, you know, just seeing right now, at least with a Dicey as a sub, you know, and Volt not here, I don't think that's that bad of a, like, player matchup as far as chemistry and player comparison goes. It's just what can Dicey fill in the void of Volt?
Yeah, Dicey, one of those players that can kind of fill in a spot where he needs to, and you're not losing anything on that aspect, right? I agree completely. Like, the chemistry is there. Kai almost with a chance there, but we'll put it high over the crossbar. And all right, I said before that Rochester, in my opinion, had the upper hand here. It feels like Brainerd have had a lot of pressure in that Rochester goal. They just had a lot of possession, able to get it out. You can see AO receiving the ball in the midfield once again, and I feel like that's been a reoccurring theme here in Game 1.
Yeah, definitely, but neither team can break through. But shots flying out on both ends. I think definitely for sure victory. Oh boy.
Oh no.
That just feels like exactly how a long overtime always ends in this game. Just something that you're not expecting, nothing cool at all. But tip your cap to Kyler. Nice pinch there, get it all the way down the field, and Rhythm, they take Game 1.
Yeah, that feels bad. I can see what he was going for, trying to catch it on the edge of his car and just dribble it out to that left side, or up the midfield where he had space. But yeah, it just did not work out. Bad mechanics, bad execution, I guess I should say, and that's unfortunately for a victory. That's a goal for Rhythm, and in turn Game 1. But yeah, Kyler, you know what? I said he was been a little quiet. He scored a hat trick that game, so I will take my words back. I'm sorry, Kyler. Yeah, you completely proved me wrong. 3 goals and 6 shots, so 50% shooting percentage, and yeah, 6 shots for AO as well. The standout player, the super sub coming in, having a lot of shots, having a goal for Brainerd as well. So yeah, a little bit awkward, but Rhythm coming out with that one in overtime is a really close game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they have what it takes to take Game 2. We'll have to see if victory can bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, a very interesting game at that. We saw a ton of shots from both sides. I felt like it was super back and forth just overall. But neither sub was a slouch that game. So I'm really interested to see what's to come up here as we go into Game 2.
Yeah, Game 2 we go. Rochester with that 1-0 series lead. Just trying to get the players all into the lobby. Looks like we're good now. We'll start that 5 minutes on the clock. A new game for Victory Redemption. We'll have to see what they can do with it. And actually, Volt Destroyer is taking Rochester's place for Dicey. So I think for Victory, it's gone from bad to worse in this series. You now have Volt to contend with.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this team plays. They play one game with Dicey, and now they have Volt back. I mean, we talked about it before, and that's not exactly the start you want. But we talked about it before. Dicey's no slouch at filling in, being able to play a nice collective role right away. But Volt comes in, first round premier pick for the Rhythm this year. You'd think a very big upgrade for the Rochester Rhythm. But, kind of a lousy goal to start off. Not exactly what you want to see, and a weird touch here. Be very interested to see how warmed up Volt is right now.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an awkward one. I think Kyler kind of gave it away off that pass off the wall, and I don't know if Volt was entirely expecting that scenario to happen, but I'm sure they'll be able to bounce back. I mean, they kind of need to, right? If they can't score a goal in Game 2, I think they'll struggle to take the series. That's a shot on goal from Volt. Redirected chance from Kyler, but it is saved away once again, and those are the kind of plays that I'm looking for from Rochester.
Yeah, maybe it is just a slow start for the Rhythm in this match, and they'll come back and start taking over. But, we're seeing a lot of offensive pressure now as Kai gets this one away. Kyler next up, trying to go high with it. Can't really do much. Stewie taking it upon himself, trying to get something going. But, a lot of midfield presence so far this game. 1 goal from the Brainerd, not the prettiest of goals, but a wide open net and a bar down, I believe, by Volt. It was like half field.
Yeah, it just beats the whole defense. They're all moving in a pack there. None of them even remotely close to that goal line. And I was just going to say that Volt, taking up that position in the midfield, it was kind of awkward for Kyler trying to dribble through that exact same space. You know, and that's what I was thinking. You know, Dicey kind of fills in the gaps. He'll go where his teammates aren't. So to, like you said, the adjustment from game 1 to game 2, now you have Volt, you know, who wants the ball, who wants to do mechanics, he wants to have a chance on goal, and he gets a goal. So, you know, kind of redemption for maybe that misunderstanding for the goal 1 for victory here. But I think they've, you know, maybe it was a hard transition at first. I think they've finally made that transition to allow Volt that more space, to allow him more possession, and I think they'll have the rewards for it. They'll reap the rewards for it. But on defense once again for Rochester, Volt in the corner, they're floating towards that one. Zebra will beat him on that challenge. Kyler on the backboard, and Stewie was as well. Kind of bad. Second touch for Ayo off the backboard. Third as well. Kai rushing in, but is unable to make contact somehow.
Yeah, it feels like Rochester is kind of just surviving on defense while, you know, they're putting away and just not connecting on offense. I'd be interested to see, you know, how much of that is actually the addition of Volt and how much they're going to be able to get back. But a nice, you know, cleanup goal here by Stewie, right on top of Zebra's head.
Yeah, and, you know, they do get the goal there, but what caught my attention was the double commit, once again, from Volt Destroyer and, I'm forgetting his name. What? Kyler. Volt Destroyer and Kyler, excuse me. The double commit coming out right before that goal, they both went for the ball, and I think, you know, maybe I said they made that adjustment, maybe not. You know, maybe that's still some miscommunication, some rotational issues that need to be figured out, and in a way, they maybe looked more consistent with Dicey. You know, he doesn't have those mechanics per se, but he's able to fill in the gaps and allow, like you said, Kyler to really put his best foot forward and try to get goals for his team through his mechanics. So we'll have to see if they can get a handle that a little bit more. I think I'm looking for an improvement for Rochester, for them to work on those double commits, make sure that their rotations are sound. But I think more than that, they're going to be focused on keeping this lead. They do have a lead with 90 seconds left. Victory doing their best to try and mitigate that. Ayo in the corner. Stewie at 50 there. That'll somehow find its way through both defenders. Zebra up for that one, just tilting it backwards for Kai, but it's just too awkward of a touch, and they'll have to start once again.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk about Stewie right now. I feel like he's been, you know, he was very quiet in game 1, didn't really show up much on the scoreboard with Dicey as a teammate, but this game, putting in a lot of work, quietly once again, but does have one goal. Right as I'm talking about him, not quite able to get a beautiful shot by Kai.
And it all starts from that demo as well. Volt Destroyer almost had that 50, was so close to making contact, but makes none, goes middle for Kai, he puts it on target, and, you know, that's great for victory, but you're seeing some slowdowns for Rochester, I think. They're maybe not working as well as they used to. Kyler shot off target, bounce shot, still in that Brainerd corner. Ayo trying to get one out. Zebra downfield. Ayo to the middle. It's behind Kai. That maybe could have been a passing play had it been more accurate. Stewie, a shot will be off target once again. Ayo, good clear out. Double touch off the corner now. Going to the backboard. Now downfield over to Ayo. Could he get that double touch? He's there for it. What a save from Volt Destroyer to keep him out, though.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful read by Volt to try and stop that push by Brainerd. A few guys up, you know, and that's an easy one to panic on. And a beautiful job by Volt there to get that one away. Not an easy read at all. But once again, I feel like we're seeing a lot of midfield presence from both teams. I feel like we've seen a lot of good passing plays and a lot of solos, or a lot of good passing plays rather by Rhythm, just not able to connect, and a lot of good solo plays by Brainerd, not able to connect as well. So I'm interested to see maybe if we get one of those two options as the final goal here in this game.
Well, we will have to see. Once again, we're into overtime. This time in game 2, Rochester with that 1-0 lead in the series, but lusty attempt coming out from Kyler is actually effective. Stewie trying to follow up on it. Double commit out from Kai and Zebra, but Rochester are not in a position to take advantage of that. Kyler was in the middle of his back post rotation back, and Stewie was in the midfield, but Kyler of the ceiling now, getting one back to the corner. What a save as well from Victory to keep it out. I think Kyler's warmed up over the course of the series, you know, was quiet, you know, had 3 goals, but I'm really seeing him push forward, get that offense going for Rochester. We'll have to see if he can get even more going. Kai, that's a big miss out, but thankfully Zebra will able to bail him out of that one. Maybe actually a chance on goal over off the backboard. Volt Destroyer and Stewie. Once again, the double commit coming through. That might give a chance to Ayo. What a save to keep it out. Kai to follow up. And victory. They will find themselves with that series tie as well from that win in game 2. But again, Cole, it comes down to that double commit from Volt Destroyer and Stewie. We've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, Rochester just looking super uncomfortable just overall. I mean, they almost connected on a bunch of stuff. They were bumping each other, getting in each other's way all the time. You know, not pretty goals coming out from the victory as far as, you know, if you're looking from the team perspective of the rhythm. And you have to wonder if they're going to be able to iron everything out because, you know, if they don't get this ironed out quick, it could get bad.
Yeah, and you know, even with that, though, they're still in this. You know, they went to overtime both times. My concern is that I thought, you know, with Volt Destroyer, they would hit the ground running. Volt Destroyer, even if he's not warmed up, he still has that experience to try and, you know, come back into this one as the main starting roster player. Like we said, he was drafted #1 for Rochester's franchise, so you would expect him to have a big impact. But they not only lost that second game, but they were in overtime and still couldn't pull it out. So, you know, I'm not really seeing a huge improvement, and definitely not now that Kai has a goal to his name 11 seconds in.
Yeah, everything's just so awkward on the Rochester Rhythm side on defense. You know, backflips galore as we see Stewie maybe trying to stay down to let Kyler go for that one on the save. But, you know, I don't know if it's a communication difference or, you know, if it's just a play style thing. But, yeah, not looking the prettiest as we see yet again another double commit by the Rhythm. But Kyler absolutely making the most of it with a beautiful flip reset goal.
Yeah, great flip reset. Volt Destroyer, you can see, again, Volt Destroyer going for the same ball that Kyler and Stewie are going for. And like you said, it might be rotational communication. I think for that goal for the victory, the first one of this game, I think Ayo got an extra touch that Stewie wasn't expecting. I think he was ready to go for that ball, but it took a little bit more touches than he had expected. So, you know, it was an open net at the end of the day, but they do pull one back here. Just about 30 seconds into game 3. We'll have to see what they can do with it now. Ayo getting bumped away there. Zebra with a big flick with that dominus. Volt Destroyer on the back line gets another touch as well. Ayo back to the middle, but Kyler's waiting patiently, and I'm really liking how Kyler's playing. You know, he's getting those mechanics, but he's not, you know, overcommitting. He's not trying to push too far up the field without his team in support.
100%, but I feel like every time I see Kyler go for the ball, somebody else is going up for the ball too. It's just, you know, maybe let Kyler cook. You know, the first game he comes out, he puts up 700 points, 3 goals. I kind of wanted to be able to see that again, but if he's not given the time, space from his teammates, you know, maybe we won't be able to see that.
Absolutely not. Ayo getting a second touch off that 50 with Volt Destroyer and gets the pinch pass across the Rochester goal line. That might just be in. Nobody back for Brainerd victory. And that pinch across the goal will come back to haunt Ayo there.
I'm trying to see what happened. Kai just kind of, I don't know if he messed up on his jump or if the ball was just coming so fast that couldn't read it in time. I would doubt that's the case, but a wonky goal for the Rhythm puts him up 2-1 with a bit over half this game remaining.
Yeah, Kyler trying to break out now. Traffic jam of victory players to contend with. That's towards that victory goal, but they do eventually get it out. Kai, flick attempt past one, won't quite work. Volt now the other side. Ayo will collect. Over to Kai, back to the middle. I like that play. Zebra to put that on top right corner. That's exactly what you want to see out of the victory here.
Yeah, beautiful passing play. You know, I was talking about the Rhythm before being the ones trying to look for passing plays, but, you know, I feel like recently and with the goal that the Brainerd scored at the end of the last match, they've really picked up the pace, finding teammates in the midfield, and I really like what I'm seeing out of them.
Yeah, maybe they can get another one. Had a chance just now, doesn't quite get there to the back of the net. Zebra into that Rochester corner. Ayo to turn on it, and Kyler, I like how he's just waiting on that goal line whenever they seem to need a defensive save. He's there to put in that work. Will Destroyer, same thing called upon. Does answer that call as well. That's a big clear downfield from Stewie. Kai to return that, gets demoed. Or in return for that touch. Stewie having to turn around quickly on that one to keep it out of their net, and that's been the transitional play. I feel like, you know, I would like to see both teams focus more on the build-up play, you know, getting those passing plays across. That's a good chance. Vol again with the save. Zebra the squishy, but it's bouncing very harmfully in front of their net still. Back to the corner, and they now have some space to work with, but, you know, they're forcing that transitional play a little bit, just sending it long and hoping something happens there.
100%. Yeah, I feel like we're seeing a lot of passing plays from both teams right now. I mean, that's beautiful textbook Rocket League. I love to see it. But, you know, 2-2, 2 minutes left. A lot of midfield presence, I feel like. No one really taking over this game on either side for either teams. So I'm interested who will be able to break through, who will be able to hold on. And, you know, it almost feels like we could even see another overtime, Tibbles.
Yeah, what a treat that would be. Game 3, 3 overtimes in a row. And yeah, absolutely, it's still tied up here. And, you know, I think I've seen both flashes of brilliance from both teams. You know, they've had some good moments, they've had a lot of bad moments, but if they can capture the energy of those good moments and try to get back into this, I think, you know, either team could really take this game. And still tied up in the series, this could really influence the eventual series winner here. That's bouncing in front of the Rochester goal. A miss from Volt Destroyer means that Kai will have a free and open chance on the Rochester net. They do find it through. They may just be the answer the victory needed.
Yeah, with a minute left, an absolutely huge shot from Kai. I feel like Brainerd has been playing very passive, just taking very good chances at the ball. And I feel like one aggressive play right there was all they needed to break through. Be interested to see if they continue to bring that type of play out. But, you know, what they're doing right now hasn't necessarily not been working for them. So, you know, maybe a playstyle change isn't needed, but I feel like both of these teams, very new overall, just lacking a bit of chemistry. It's definitely going to be a scrap fest the rest of the way, I think, Tibbles.
30 seconds for Rochester to get back into this one. Score another goal if they want to at least take it to overtime here. You know, that ball will just be returned to him. Stewie off the backboard has to get another touch through. Zebra crashing the net as well. I like just the presence in this Rochester half. They're just waiting there for the midfield. That pings off the crossbar for AO. Another shot on target. Kyler to keep it out is on the Rochester goal line. 5 seconds for them to cross the whole of the field. That's a good start from Stewie. Now Volt off the ceiling. Can Kyler get there? It's dunked down. Zebra, no. Stewie, no touch there either. And victory, you know, I don't want to be rude, but against all odds, they take game 3.
Yeah, and I mean, they've been the ones that have stuck through it both games. I mean, we've seen scrap fests on both sides. Feels like we've seen teams that don't necessarily have chemistry together, and, you know, they don't really. 2 very new teams, Victory with a sub this game, Rhythm with a brand new roster. I just feel like we need to see a little bit more consistency on both sides, but if we're going to be getting the types of games we're getting right now with both of these teams, I don't see why Victory doesn't pull out the next game.
Well, 12 total shots for Victory in that one, I believe. I didn't quite see the numbers, but about around 6 or 7 for Rhythm there. And, you know, that kind of backs up my point. I didn't quite see the saves, which also tells a complete story. You don't have the complete story with just the shots on target, but I really think that Victory had a majority of the possession there and looked more often than not like the team that were going to take a goal. They eventually do. So now on match point for Brainerd Victory, that's exactly what they needed. Currently with 5 points on the board so far this season, winning 1 series out of their total 7 so far. So they really need these points. They need a good showing in the major as well. It all starts right here. Maybe even starts with Kyler ruining their dreams with a flip reset, but no such luck.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen a very... Every time I start talking, somebody scores. Kyler with a beautiful cleanup goal here with a communicational mishap. Zebra and AO double committing on the goal line. But I feel like that's all we've seen all match is, can each team get out of the defensive end clean? And if they can, I feel like it's almost been a goal every single time.
Yeah, I feel like these double commits have been the theme of this series. I just feel like both teams have struggled a lot with them. And, you know, for different reasons. I think both on the Rochester side, more of those players are mechanical and want the ball and want to go for the ball, so they're going to go for the ball. On the Brainerd side, it's just probably the chemistry is just not there yet. Zebra, a very new addition to that team. Ao coming in as the challenger sub, so you really have challenges on two different fronts. And Kai doing his best to mitigate that, and I think they've done a pretty good job so far, but they'll have to come back on this one. Zebra, long clear downfield. That's just a quarterback pass to the top of the corner on the left side, and no challenge from the defense, not able to get there.
Yeah, I think that might be our maybe third or fourth half field or over goal that we've seen in this series already on the fourth game. I mean, I'm kind of speechless at what I'm watching. It almost feels like, you know, these teams haven't been with each other for very long, and you can definitely feel that just watching the games. But, you know, I'm really interested to see who can pull through in this matchup. I feel like Brainerd has maybe had a little bit of the upper hand with one game. Yeah, I can never finish a sentence before someone scoring, but Brainerd just having just a little bit of an edge. I feel like being able to play a little bit more scrappy, a little bit more fine-tuned than the Rhythm.
Yeah, and maybe that's just from playing more conservatively. You know, when you have players that are confident on the ball, they tend to take risks on the ball as well, and so you don't necessarily have that solid backbone. And the problem that Rochester has is I wouldn't say any of these players are defensive. You know, out of Volt Destroyer, Kyler, and Stewie, I don't really think any one of them prefers to stay in the midfield or, you know, cut out those passes. I think they all like to be on the ball. So you really have that to try and figure out here. Kyler to the middle, almost had a chance. Or Volt Destroyer, or the sub coming in to clear that one out. Kai flick attempt, but Volt Destroyer is demoing on that backside when both of his teammates are attacking. Nobody there to finish that one off, and Victory will somehow come away with that one.
Yeah, that felt like it was a must-score scenario for the Rhythm, especially given there's half the game left, 1 goal down. Really need to get something going here. And I feel like you want to be doing it early. You want to build momentum right away. You want to build on the momentum that you gained from 1 goal, being able to tie it up. And then bring that momentum into game 5, pull off the series, and then go into the next one because they have won, what, 2 matches? I believe in 2 matches they're on stream again.
Yeah,
so
for the Rhythm, yeah.
You know, if they don't figure something out now, I'd be concerned for the match that's coming up in Zebra, just capitalizing on yet again another defensive mistake from the Rhythm.
Yeah, Stewie, the lone one back. Volt was there for the follow-up, but too fast for his liking, and that's a hard read from the backboard, but you generally want to be hitting those in this Premier level. So when you don't, it's going to be a fairly easy goal at the end of the day for Victory here, so they're going to be happy about that one. 3-1 lead in Game 4. Lead in the series as well, 2-1. They're on match point, so have a hold on for just under 2 minutes now, and they might actually take the series and start that comeback train going, but I spoke too soon. Volt Destroyer with just over 90 seconds will cut that deficit in half.
It feels like every single goal we watch, something out of the ordinary happens before the ball goes in the net. I mean, it's 2 teams that haven't played with each other as much as they probably need to be fine-tuned by week 6 of this league. But, you know, Rhythm with a good goal to try and bring this one back into reaching distance, and Volt able to capitalize on yet another mistake.
I mean, like I said, the mistakes, it's really going to be who is making more of them, and I had such high hopes for the Victory. They were doing so well. They were being solid, consistent, covering their bases and getting their goals and shots, rather, on target, getting them to the back of the net, but that mistake just cannot happen. I mean, you know, even for a team such as Rochester, who is in almost complete disarray right now, they're going to be taking those, so you have to be careful. And now it's all to play for. A minute left. No team up on that one. Zebra going for that bump. It would be a good idea. High force backwards. Not expecting that touch. Now to the middle. I will have to bail out AO on that one. Maybe save coming through. Some misses as well. Whiffs everywhere here. Kyler might... No, I thought he was going to finish off. I thought he was going to capitalize, but that once again is a missed opportunity.
I mean, it wouldn't be this series if that ball went in the net. I mean...
Absolutely.
Oh, jeez.
No, what is
my
that?
goodness. Oh, who messed up here? Oh, Kyler not quite able to touch. Oh, wait, no, he does touch it. Touches it almost directly in the net. Volt, getting demoed on the goal line. A great demo by Kai, I believe. And, I feel like it's always a good play on one team's side and a horrible one on the other that leads to goals.
Yeah. I have to agree, and I think if Kyler just doesn't even hit that, I think it's fine. Stewie was waiting on the goal line, I couldn't see what he could see if he could see through the smoke there after that demo. I couldn't quite see that positioning, but yeah, that feels bad, but victory, that will give them the lead. Might give them the series as well. That goes across the Rochester goal. That would have been lights out if that had gone in. 5 seconds now. Stewie to get that one out, still on the wall. Fake Kyler out. He'll try to get that one up. Scoops it up. He might find his way through. Kai will get that to the side. That will touch the ground. And game 4 will go to victory. And the series, in turn, I really got to commend their effort. It was, I think, what do you say, scrappy? I think that's a perfect word for that whole series. I mean, it was just back and forth, and not even like, cohesive movements back and forth. It was just randomness and trying, trying to get that 50 through and power through. But the victory eventually did, and they take the series.
Yeah, I mean, props to them to be able to pull out in a series like that. 3-1, it felt like it was probably going to end up going to game 5. So being able to, not only bring back the series after going down with Dicey as the sub, but also, win the close games down the stretch. They pick up a really important 5 points, and if you're the Rhythm, you got a stream game after this next series. What can you figure out in between now and then to be able to fix that, because you have a much more difficult team coming up next.
Yeah, absolutely. But next series will be Duluth Superiors and the Fargo Steelhawks. I'm going to say that's our highlight match of the night. Same casters. That'll be my last game as well for the night. So should be a good series, but we'll be right back with more Rocket League action.
Something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow. We can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the taste so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. 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 We've all been here before.
flip all the time that I borrowed and make another life. You can break my stride. There's a palace in my mind, made of light, and it shows. Yeah, yeah. The stars are falling, skies are raining gold. Yeah, yeah. Forever I'm free, that's what could be. So I'm waiting. I don't need a rush, I'm patient. However long it takes, I'll be there one day. Hey. Eternal, I'm alive and chasing whatever it is I'm facing. I can't walk away. There's so much left to say. Hey. Our story never has to end.
Welcome back to the premiere stream of Midwest Championship Series. This is November 11th, 11 on the clock. We got Duluth Superiors and the Fargo Steelhawks. Make your wish in chat if you want, but or don't tell us, because then it might not come true. But we'll have to see. Duluth Superiors currently number 1 in the standings. Fargo Steelhawks currently number 2. And like our producer avidly pointed out, Fargo Steelhawks, even if they win this series, will be behind on game differential. So, you know, kind of unfortunate there. They will still be in second if they do win this series, but you want that record at least. You want that win in the books, and we'll have to see. On the Duluth side, I actually haven't seen much of Bryant and Crispy. I've heard very good things about them from Vanish, and then Forrest coming in as the GM for Duluth as well. So we'll have to see how they do. But I'm really excited for this matchup. I mean, what more could you ask for? Number 1 and number 2 in Premier.
Yeah, two very good teams. I do want to talk on the game differential once again. I mean, if Fargo does win this, the game solely based off of game differential, they will not be able to take over Duluth in the standings. But Duluth 7-0 in their games so far, 16 game differential in those series. That means they have only dropped 5 total games out of, you know, a potential 3-0 sweep every single match.
Yeah, out of 7 series, that's ridiculous. They're averaging, dropping less than a game per series, you know, across the whole season so far. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy to see from them. But I think Fargo has got to be, you know, one of the strongest premier teams up there with the Green Bay Knights, of course. But I think this is going to be a true test right here. You know, if you play the lower power teams, let's say early on in the season, you can get that undefeated record. But when you play those upper teams, the ones that are in first, second, third, fourth, you know, that's when it's really the true test of what's going to happen. That's a close one for Hams. That's going to go off the Fargo post, and now Duluth swarming, trying to take advantage of this proposition here. We'll come out to Hams once again. Heard good things about this player too. Flip reset for him. Gonna give that 50, but no such luck.
Yeah, good aggressive start from both teams. Feel like we've seen a lot of back and forth gameplay. You know, I haven't been very engulfed in the Premier scene. You know, this is just my second season casting, or not casting, but playing in the league. And, you know, I've been a challenger player both seasons. So I'm here to watch and learn from both of these players as much as everybody else is here. But I'm really excited just solely based off of the standings today.
Yep. Really shows the importance of this matchup as well. And if Duluth can pull out a win here, I mean, not only is that a statement to Fargo taking that series over them, but that's a statement to the rest of the league as well. Going 8-0, I mean, I don't know the exact stats of whether that would guarantee your place, at least in play-ins, but I gotta, you know, it's gotta be at least close, 8 out of 11 matches. So we'll have to see if they can continue that streak or whether Fargo is here to ruin it for them. And Vanish leading the line as well. The man himself will get demoed on that play, and Crispy there to break.
Yeah, and, you know, I think last week was actually the first time Fargo had lost a series 3-2 to Des Moines at 4:30. You know, I'm not exactly sure what exactly happened in that series. I don't know if they have a full roster or not. Maybe you can comment on that, Tibbles. But, you know, Des Moines, not a slouch of a team at all. You know, I've played them before as a Premier sub. They're very good. They got Mogi the first round first pick of the entire draft. So not a bad team at all. Not one you want to hang your head over as far as a series goes and a series loss. But, you know, only one game dropped total in a series loss is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I am looking in roster submission. I do not know. Been pretty busy. I do not know if Fargo had a full roster on that one. And, you know, if they had a sub, then that's just kind of unfortunate for the record. But, you know, they're still in a good place. I'm sure they'll bounce back. And still no goals halfway into this matchup. So kind of interesting, you know, actually not even halfway, almost 3 minutes into this one. But, yeah, interesting to see no goals on the board as well. And Vanish kind of known for scoring goals, having that offense, those mechanics coming through, and I'm sure Duluth is the same way. But back to Crispy now, taking a 50. Azell kind of lands on that one, wave dash back to the corner. Or is battling through. He'll find his way through Hams, but again, it goes across that Fargo goal.
Yeah, great chance for Duluth there. I feel like we've seen a lot of good opportunities out of the Steelhawks right away, but Duluth has Fargo pushed in their own end for a while, able to put some damage on, a lot of damage that they needed. You know, right now the shots are 7-2 in favor of the Steelhawks, so Steelhawks coming out, making a statement right away, just not able to get the actual statement they need in a goal.
Yeah, Vanish to put that one on, double commit from Fours and Crispy to keep it out. Doesn't really matter though, forced back to that Steelhawks side, Vanish to carry this one out. On pinch possibly, but Hams will take over on that one. Crispy to the corner to safety. Fours again off the wall, but we'll give it away to Azell. And again, that's in the Duluth corner, but can't take advantage of it. Another player goes missing there. Flick past one, only one to beat. Azell will get that through. Back to Vanish. Back to Hams as well. Passing it off once again to Azell. Gets it past another one, but that gives it away to Bryant. And, you know, that's a great play there from Fargo. Just kind of missing that final puzzle piece to put a shot on goal.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it all game so far. They've had plenty of opportunities, just not able to connect. You know, I'd be interested to see who will break through first with a great shot attempt, a great bump by Vanish, just not able to go through. Duluth's defense holding super strong right now.
Yeah, the flip reset helping him, faking the second flip reset, almost found his way through, but Azell, it'll be his turn to try. Hams shot on target this time. Bryant will catch that one. Was an easy one to catch at the end of it. Vanish just to pop it forward for his teammate, but back to Vanish it goes from Fours there for the finish is Azell, but overtime we go in game one, similar to last series, but I got a feeling it's a little bit more clean and a little bit more mechanical than last series was.
Oh, 100%, and you can see that right away. You know, not as scrappy as all these teams are here to play really good Rocket League, and you know, who will break through first? I mean, a 0-0 game, who knows how long this overtime can go. We've seen a few big ones already tonight, but, you know, Steelhawks with a slight advantage so far, at least as offensive goes, but Superiors being able to hold off for the first 5.5 minutes of this game. A really good opportunity here from Fours, but a great save by Vanish. Bryant not able to put it in, but Crispy, a great job following that one up.
I'm wondering where his teammates were. Hams, yeah, trying to get back, but Vanish, you know, he faked the save to the middle of the goal, found the save on the short end of the goal, you know, near post, I should say. It spilled out middle. Another shot went off post, and finally the third player coming in, crashing in the net for the Duluth Superiors and finishing that one off. So Vanish doing his absolute best to keep that one out, has a savior medal on the board, and neither of his teammates with any. But his teammates do have 4 shots apiece, to be fair, so definitely getting that offense as well. But like I said, missing that piece. And look, I mean, okay, so we look at the shots. 11 for Steelhawks, but then you look at the saves as well. Superiors, 10 saves. Cool. You know, Superiors are really having that defense. Steelhawks are forcing saves out of them, and I'm saying they're missing that puzzle piece, but it's just been some stellar defense from the Duluth Superiors here.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to counteract super good defense is to open up the field, get some demos. Be interested to see if the Steelhawks can, you know, start pulling through in that aspect of the game. I mean, they're clearly able to create shots, get shots on net, but, you know, Superior's holding strong. Only 5 shots on net that game. The only goal in that one. Be interested to see what we see here coming up next if the Steelhawks can break through, because they need something to get going here quick if they want to break through this Duluth defense.
Yeah, absolutely, but 5 minutes once again on the clock. They have plenty of chances to do it. That was only game 1. Of course, there's a best of 5, so, you know, should have plenty of chances to get back into this one. Vanish getting that off the ceiling, getting another touch out to Azell as well, up to the ceiling. Hams to follow up. That'll be the first goal for Fargo there. Only 1 for Duluth last game, and that was the only goal so far in the series, but right there, that's the response that Fargo wanted.
Yep, and there we go, Tibbles. All we needed was a bumper and demo, just like I was talking about before. Looks like they made the adjustment right away. You know, 22 seconds into the game, they find their first goal of the series. Comes off of a, you know, a really nice offensive play like we've been seeing the whole time, but a bump is the difference of what I saw there. And, you know, it helps them break through. I'd be interested to see if we can see more of that.
Miss there from Crispy. That will just pitch all the way back into that Fargo net, and all the work that they just did, Cole, is immediately erased.
Yeah, just a super unfortunate one. Fargo pushed up
Gotcha.
kind of far up in the grand scheme of things. I don't know who should have been back there, but you know, you don't want to have that many players all in the same spot at the same time, so maybe a little bit of a defensive rotational mistake. Nonetheless, game is still tied, 4 minutes left.
Back to Hams now. Long Hail Mary downfield to the Duluth backboard. Crispy will find his way past him there. 50 past Vanish as well. Really impressed with how Crispy has been playing. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about Crispy and Bryant and how Fours really complements their play style as a GM and player, but you know, it's really to go and take Fargo and really just sometimes make them look silly on defense is something to be proud of, to be sure. But again, back to the other wall now. Vanish, quick aerial up to the ceiling for that one. No 50 just yet. We'll go back to that Fargo side. Hams will just drop that one for Azell. Azell back to Hams. Maybe shot on target. He'll get past both defenders there. I don't know how that happened, but I'm sure Fargo is not complaining.
Yeah, it feels like that's like the first defensive mistake we've seen from Duluth, and it costs them. So, you know, that just shows how important defense will be against this Steelhawks team who is so offensively talented.
Off the wall now. Fours having that save forced out from Azell. Not off the post now from the save from Crispy. Crispy again on the wall, but we'll miss that touch. Azell just a hard bang off the wall, but nobody there for Fargo to follow up on it. Hams back to that corner. Crispy, I like that control from him. Kind of loses control of his car though. He had the ball, but then, you know, the fundamental of the car didn't quite work out there, so we'll give it away. Azell shot on target, another double commit. Crispy bumping Bryant out there as well. Malcolm will come out to Vanish, has boost and the ball to work with, back to the middle, but Hams has turned around on it, and Azell is too far back to really make a play. It might not matter off the post. Hams there, thankfully, for Fargo to finish it off, and I'm sure Azell is breathing a sigh of relief.
100%, you know, really good job there getting around the last defender from Azell. By Hams being able to clean it up. I love what I'm seeing out of Fargo on offense once again this game. They clearly have it in their bag. They just weren't able to commit, get the goals they needed last game. But now with 3 goals on the board and, you know, half this game left, it's how much can you put on at this point? I mean, you don't really have to play safe just yet, so I'd be interested to see what we can see coming out from Fargo. Nothing really going right now but Vanish. Nice air dribble, opens up space. Crispy awkward, and Hams puts it home.
Yeah, I actually like that fake from Azell. I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume it was a fake, because Crispy was there for the challenge. Fours, you know, I'm sure the communication is there, and if you know Hams is right behind you as the third man ready to take that shot, you know that Fours is not getting there, and it's better to fake. So, yeah, Fargo pressing their advantage, getting another goal, that 4th one on the board in game 2, and they've really come alive, Cole. I mean, had 0 goals, so, okay, I thought they were going to concede as I said that, but had 0 goals in game 1 and now have 4 to their name in game 2.
Yeah, and I almost feel like we haven't even really seen a different team. It's the same exact team we saw last game. They just weren't able to figure things out and be able to get that goal. But, you know, we've seen bumps, we've seen fakes come out on the offensive side this time. I feel like a lot of direct shots last game. And, you know, all of that just being put together this game, and Fours with a ka-chow on a full field shot right over his O.
Yeah, third man going for that challenge. Just usually not a good idea unless you are 95% sure you'll at least get a 50 in your favor, but still goes anyway. I mean, you kind of have the lead, so, you know, not the worst thing in the world. That's saved off the crossbar by Azell, and that's one back for Fargo. Oh, no, I spoke too soon. Sorry about that, Fargo. That was off the post. Didn't quite have the read on it, but Vanish looking to make it a fifth one. We'll just go way over the Duluth net, and I actually think Fargo is being a little more cohesive. They're being clean with the rotations. I feel like game one, you know, maybe they had the advantage. You know, maybe they had a chance to put something on net, and they had shots on net, but nobody was there for the follow-up was their main problem, and they've really solved that here in game two. Vanish put another one on net, and no save coming out from Duluth. That was an odd one, but Fargo do find their fifth goal here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what happened. It just looks like Fours maybe not really sure what was going on. There were like three or four people on the ball all at once. Who knows where that ball's going to go at the end of the day. And just like me, Fours could not read it either. But Steelhawks finding their fifth goal of this game. A huge momentum boost. You know, they had the offense of the first game, like we said before, just not able to connect. But here, you know, momentum all on their side.
Yeah, I think Forrest was expecting Bryant to get some kind of 50 there, and he just didn't get any touch at all, so it was right at the net that he was not expecting. But nonetheless, that's Fargo's fifth goal, and now have a pretty solid 3-goal advantage. Vanish to send that forward to Hams, and Crispy there to save that one away. Duluth kind of lost that magic that they had in game one. You know, I thought they had some really good defense, and we kind of talked about how Fargo has been a little bit more clean with their rotations, the orientation with their car there for the follow-up. Azell might be there for the follow-up for the double touch as well, but Forrest will be in the corner to save it away for Duluth. It's not going to matter though, Cole. 3-goal lead, 0 seconds on the clock. Not going to matter.
Yeah, very impressive game by the Steelhawks. I really liked what I saw from them overall. You know, like absolutely peppered Duluth in shots once again. I think we saw 13 shots that game from the Steelhawks. And, you know, the difference was just being able to put it away. I mean, they played almost the exact same style of Rocket League like we saw last time. They just, you know, they capitalized on their opportunities, and that's what brought us to, you know, even in this series.
Yeah, and special shout out to Hams as well. 4 goals on 8 shots. I feel like I said, they were just there on the rotations. They were a little bit more cohesive. They were there for the follow-ups, and you know, obviously casting Cyril, seeing Northwood play, like, you see that a lot where, you know, you just pepper shots to the net and you put that pressure on, you know, side to side, left to right, across their net, you know, above their net, just make the defense awkward. And I feel like Fargo really excelled at that here, you know, just getting shots on target and having the follow up as well once the defense is awkward. And that can be the answer for a lot of teams. That's been the answer for Fargo in game 2. But we'll have to see if they can continue that success in the next game with the tied series.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're talking a lot about the Fargo offense, but I feel like we need to see more from the Superiors. You know, game 1 from them was a defensive mastermind. I mean, they did an amazing job defensively, shutting down everything we saw from the Steelhawks. But, you know, both games, they've had very minimal opportunities compared to the Steelhawks, and they've needed to capitalize on basically every single one of them as far as last game goes, if they even wanted a chance in that game. So want to see more from them here. See if they can even out the shots, at least even out the opportunities, because they're going to need it as far as offensive goes in comparison to the Steelhawks team.
And you were just talking about the Duluth offense. I really like that pass from Brian. He got a really, you know, creative pass to try and get it to the middle for his teammates. It didn't work out. Fargo was there to cut it out. I think they even got another demo coming in on Fargo there. Vanish just spawning in. Does get the ball now. Flip reset off the ceiling, but no contact on the second touch on the ball. For his demo as well, will leave some space for Crispy. Hits the 50 through, and Vanish will have to get that to his corner for Fargo there. Comes back to Crispy again, actually, across the goal. Azell looking a little bit awkward, but does make that touch. And Fargo eventually clear, but they're, going back to those game one roots where they looked very awkward on defense.
Yeah, I mean, a good job not letting Duluth score, but, I was ragging on the Duluth offense a little bit at the start of the game, but they're the one coming out in the first minute and a half, bringing the heat on the Steelhawks. They're continuing to do so right now. Crispy trying to give a chance, Hams out. And again, just stopped in their tracks, the Steelhawks. Not looking like themselves in this first 2 minutes.
Thank you, Puck League, for the raid of 39 people. We definitely appreciate that. That's a big raid. So we definitely appreciate that very much. This is Midwest Championship Series. It's a Midwest USA-based league for competitive or semi-competitive players, let's say. So definitely, hit !Discord if you want to see the Discord. Join that, see what we're all about. So yeah, we also do have a territory in Canada. I do not know what it's called, unfortunately, but definitely check the list if you're from Canada and interested. But yeah, back to that game. Game 3, Azell has 2 players in front of him, does make that save, and still a tie game here in game 3.
Yeah, really like what I'm seeing out of both of these squads. Not as much as an offensive game as we've seen, only 1 shot on goal for each squad. And as I say that, Azell puts a great one on. A good save by Duluth, but a nice cleanup by Hams.
I think you should say that more, because every time you say it, they got a shot on goal or they get a goal. So, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing, Cole.
Every time I talk, one goes in the net.
Hey, that's just how it goes. But yeah, 1 goal for Fargo now. You like to see the success that they're continuing from that game 2, but it's been a different story. I like the response from Duluth. They're not, they're making sure to cover their bases, that they're not, the game kind of got away from them. It kind of ran away from them in game 2, and they really weren't able to be fast enough to chase it and recapture it. So, 1 goal, not the end of the world. 2 minutes left. You got plenty of time. It's not time to panic and send the whole house just yet, but I think you're looking for that adjustment, especially if Azell gets that through. Comes out to Vanish once again, and it is on target, but an easy save for Bryant.
2 minutes left in this game for Duluth to find a goal. Not really looking too good. It felt like they had a really good minute and a half at the start of the game, but it has been all Steelhawks since then. Found a goal in that time. A lot of offensive pressure with Duluth. Trying to find something now. A good demo by Brian on the back end, and Crispy finding the open net, just barely able to beat the Steelhawks defender. And once again, Tibbles, all I have to do is talk and we find one go in the back of the net.
Yeah, absolutely. But that demo coming through, I think, was key to that play. And Hams not having the best touch out, comes off the wall. It's a pretty open shot for Duluth to take, and they do get that goal for it. But yeah, the combination of the physical play, the demo coming through at the right time, and that kind of mistouch from Hams allowed them to score. And, maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the recipe that they need, that physical play and combining it with some really good pressure. I think that's their way through, but maybe they'll have to take advantage of that. We'll see. Just about 70 seconds now, still tied up. We're seeing kind of a repeat of game 1, but up still in the air. It's floating there. Vanish will take over. That's the backboard read. I thought he was going to miss that one. I didn't have it myself, but I mean, what a read it is to know exactly where that's going to go. It's going to go straight down. And Forrest, desperately trying to get there, but it's not enough time.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most awkward of reads, sitting in the back of your net, trying to decipher if that ball is going to waterfall down or not. And a great job by Vanish to be able to read that, position his car perfectly. And, very close to the top corner, middle-ish of the net as well, making it super hard. Forrest had to get up for that one really quick if he even wanted a chance. So great job by Vanish. A 2-1 lead now with 40 seconds remaining. Duluth looking for something. Don't want to go down 2-1 in this series. Steelhawks looking for game point. A lot of midfield presence here, and 30 seconds left for the Superiors to do something.
And, great busty coming out from Bryant to try and put something on the Fargo net. That's a big miss from Crispy as well. It means they won't maintain that pressure that they had, but I'm really impressed with Fargo because you're seeing the etiquette of higher level teams, actually, dedicated good teams where they're predicting what you're going to do. They have an idea of what you're going for. They're going to cover their bases, and they're at least going to try and compromise and get that challenge. And even if they don't, they know that their teammates are viewing their positioning and adjusting to the ball, and the other team as well. So you kind of have that defensive cohesiveness that you see in upper teams. I think Fargo really has that down to a T. I'm not, like we said, we don't know if they had a sub for Fargo last week when they lost in, I believe, Game 5, you said, against Des Moines. So that'd be kind of interesting to know. But I think Fargo has really figured it out here, and they do take another win in Game 3.
Yeah, they seem like such an evenly balanced team. They had the second overall pick in the draft in Vanish, an amazing player at that. But it feels like, no one actually is standing out. It's such a good team effort. And I feel like we're seeing that on both sides. But Steelhawks, they kind of just have the advantage right now. And I'm interested to see what Duluth can do here. One goal in both, I'm not sure. I don't remember, maybe 2 goals last game, 1 goal in the other 2 games. So they need to find some offense quick. Steelhawks doing a really good job at that. They're down 1 game in this series, game point. They need to find something quick, but, I hope they try and get more demos out. I feel like that was the recipe for success, at least in that last game. I know 4 is a very physical player. Want to see more from them in that aspect of the game, because it really opens up the field. This team is very defensively strong, but they need to find more on offense.
So I have received some intel from Wesley in the Twitch chat. So Fargo last week had a sub for the first 2 games. Lost to those first 2 games, came back with the main roster in Game 3 and Game 4, and then obviously accidentally, but lost in Game 5 against Des Moines there. But Bryant, he's going to be the star of the show right now. 4 minutes and 33 seconds left on the clock. Only not even 30 seconds in. Bryant with a double tap off the sidewall, next to that Fargo goal, and you really need to be covering that. Someone needs to be up for that front post. So kind of some latency issues, I guess, for the defensive side from Fargo, but I'm sure they'll try and come back on this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, super important goal from the Superiors right away. We've been talking about how offense has been their problem, because defense certainly has been good, but Fargo just being able to pepper goals on the net, and being able to get that first one is a huge momentum booster for this Duluth team, and one they definitely need.
Yeah, Hams off the ceiling now, gets a good pass over to Wazell. That's placed, but just a little bit off target. Probably want that one back. That was a very good chance, and you could kind of see what Hams was going for on that play. Vanish 50, back to Crispy, back to the other side. Bryant muscling that one way through. Wazell as well, trying his best to muscle it back to the other side, but Fours off the ceiling now. Double tap, opportunity. Crispy on the follow-up. And I was talking about before, you have that threatening shot on target. Fours on the ceiling there. Vanish has to respect that shot. And then you have Crispy there to follow up to clean it.
Yeah, I mean, I almost thought that was going to be a goal from Fours right away. I mean, he probably, missed that by a hair. So, yeah, like you said, just having to respect that shot just turns into a beautiful pass at the end of the day. But Fours in the Duluth offense looking scary right out the gate. About a minute and a half into this game, 2 goals matching their, series high. Hoping they can add on to that, because I feel like, we've seen it before. Maybe Steelhawks being slow to start, but they really bring it by the end of the game. So I want to see Fargo get some more shots on net, but more importantly, Duluth's state of the defense, get more shots themselves, maybe add another goal and be able to hold on to this one.
That's a shot on target from Mazel. You talked before about the physical play. You're wanting to see that more from Fours. The man himself shooting that on target will be saved away by Vanish. I don't know who it was. It was a Duluth player, but someone bumped Azel on the shot. That he was going to be up for. A miss off the backboard as well for Duluth, which meant that Azel could have scored that, and if not for that defensive physical play coming out for Duluth. So, it's saving them on defense, possibly helping them keep this lead, but I'm not really seeing it as much on offense just yet. And I think if they can unlock that success that they've had in the past, possibly against other teams, that, it could be a lot more than 2-0 here. So we'll have to see, but Wars having to force out another save there. Hams catching that one, but No second touch from him. Azel having to wait for Vanish to come through. A fake for Crispy. That was almost a little bit scary for Fargo because for Azel, you didn't see Vanish go right away when you really wanted him to.
Yeah, and zero boost by Crispy there, going down the field. Not able to quite do much, but as a defender, you got to respect it. The bump coming out as well is a 2-on-1 for a little bit, but with no boost, Fargo just able to catch up to it. But another great opportunity for Duluth. Exactly what you want to be seeing in this game. That's been their struggle in this series as a whole. But once again, we're seeing that defensive prowess from game 1 return, and they found their offensive groove as well.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Duluth still with that 2-goal lead, and we find themselves with just over 70 seconds left in the game. Fargo still chasing it. Boars with the possession there. The pass over to Crispy, but another 50 coming out. So in that Fargo corner, Vanish off the backboard has an opportunity here to try and break. 50. Crispy will get that one forward off the left wall once again. Second touch coming through off the middle. Azel on the back line. That's a scary one. Missing that touch. You really need to be there for it. I feel like the only reason a Duluth player wasn't there because they just assumed he had the touch. So, gets away with that one a little bit, but you really need to shore it up on defense as well. And on offense, I gotta say, 40 seconds left. Brian with a flip reset gets it over one. Crossbar as well. Fours with the follow-up. Again, off the backboard. They can't find a third one. Off the post, off the wall, back to the goal for Azel, back to the corner, back to the middle. They're wasting so much time off the clock here, Cole. That they scored.
Right as you say that. A great counterattack here. I feel like I've seen Duluth go into a little bit of a shell in the last minute and a half-ish, trying to hold on to their 2-0 lead. Now that's turned into 2-1 with 22 seconds left. Fargo not really able to get anything going, but is that goal what they needed to find one more, maybe send this to overtime and finish off the series?
Yeah, we will have to see. They have 10 seconds to do it. Time counting down all the time. Vanish off the wall now. It's that 50 down. They'll have to keep it up. It comes back to Crispy. Forrest going for that redirect down. Crispy there to finish it off. He somehow gets it up. I don't know if there was a second player there, but Vanish off the wall now, trying to get it middle. Hams will have to get it. No touch for Hams there. And Superiors will take that game. And yeah, that's a big one. We're going to game 5. And Fargo really figured it out there, but I can't say I'm surprised that this is going all the way.
Yeah, 2 absolutely fantastic teams that, both could be undefeated at this point in the season if it weren't for a sub. Who knows what would have happened in the Des Moines Fargo series last week, but 2 amazing teams nonetheless. Again, so evenly matched on both sides of the ball. And, I feel like this could really go either way. It could go into overtime, but yeah, like you said, Tibbles, I feel like this was definitely expected.
Yep, expected it was. But what isn't expected is what's going to happen in this game 5. I could make a prediction. I think Fargo will take it, but outside of that, I really don't know. It could go either way, obviously. Duluth, it seems like sometimes they've had the answer. Sometimes Fargo has had the answer. I feel like Fargo more often than not has had that advantage, but when Duluth fight back and really, guard their territory, guard their half, they've really been able to lock it down. Fargo really didn't have many chances last game compared to game 3, where they really ran away with it, but we'll have to see what they can accomplish here. That's kind of a weak touch from Azel. We'll give it away to Forrest here.
Yeah, being able to lock down your defensive half is going to be tough to do every single game. They've done it twice, Duluth has, but can they do it again? Being able to do that 3 times against such a amazingly offensive, talented team in Fargo, super difficult to do. You can see how good both of these teams are. And with a minute into this game, I feel like it's just been back and forth in the midfield. Nothing really coming out on either side of the offenses. 0 shots on both sides. I feel like we're seeing maybe a nervous little stalemate here in the 5th game. But Tibbles, I don't know. I might have to disagree with you. I might have to go with Duluth here. I feel like the game 4 win is going to be a good momentum booster for them. But I don't know. 8-0 sounds a lot better than 2 teams at 7-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you can get 8-0 and course, your main rival, let's say, I mean, I want to put Green Bay in there, but let's face it, they're 8th right now. Your main rival in 2nd in Fargo, if you can make them be 6-2, that's huge for your record as well, obviously, and your chances coming through. So, yeah, this is a massive, massive game for Duluth. But Fargo, if they want to go toe-to-toe with Duluth here, I think they really obviously need this series, because I don't see Duluth dropping series or games to other teams very often. But actually, that reminds me, Cole, 5 games total coming in for Duluth. That's an own goal. That's an own goal for Duluth. That's going to count for them. 5 games total that they've lost on the Duluth side, and Fargo have already taken 2 just this series.
Yeah, you can see how strong both of these rosters are. I mean, that is such a crazy stat. I mean, when you see a team that's completely undefeated, obviously you expect to have something, decently strong, but 5 games total, 7 series total as well. That's just absolutely insane. And, kind of a weird goal coming out from Fargo. You feel like, it's been such a stalemate at the start of the game that something awkward like that would happen. But Fargo, they need to find their offensive rhythm once again. They were so good in the first 4 games of the series, shut down in game 1 and game 4. But they really need to find it now if they want to claw their way back and win game 5.
Yeah, and I'm looking for that close rotation that they had where they were following up on each other's touches. They were there for each one. But you asked before about when that physical play would come through, specifically for Forrest, because he's known as that physical player. Right there, a demo coming through for Duluth, and it's making it hard for Fargo to really get anything cohesive going. Like, when a demo comes through and a player isn't there in a 3v3 game, it's obviously so hard to string together passes. You only have one outlet, one's trying to spawn in, trying to regain their senses and get back into the game. It can make it really difficult. So Fargo, they will need to find something that will counteract that, or will just find their way through no matter what. That's a save. Another one forced out for Fargo here, just trying to break out of their half. No boost for Vanish to get back to that one, up to the ceiling. I like that touch from Hams to safety for now.
Yeah, and a great pass by Forrest there, cleared away by Vanish. Not able to do quite too much. Full tank here, full boost. Nothing coming out of that one, but, like I said before, offense has been the strong suit of this Fargo team. And with 2 shots on the board with a minute left in this game, not the Fargo team that I feel like we've seen all series. And like I said before, Duluth is so strong defensively that they need all those opportunities that they can get. So with 45 seconds left, need to start putting something together.
That is a lovely touch from Forrest. I love that. Just continuing the aerial through. Zen-esque. You can see why they're keeping this lead, why they're keeping Fargo to really... I don't know how many shots they had. I guess I could look. Only 2 for Vanish. That's all they have for the whole team for this whole game 5. So 20 seconds to do it. Duluth completely shutting them down. It is in their half, to be fair. Azell trying to get the one up. Vanish up 4 at 50. Hams will have to get involved here. Crispy, that's a hesitation there. Anybody there to follow up? But no, in the corner. Nazell trying to wait back on that one. You really need to go now. Go for that one. 5 seconds left. Vanish to send it back to the mixer. It's a great pass to Hams off the backboard. Any follow-up through. Vanish to keep it up. Azell, it's right there for the taking. Forced to the corner for Duluth. That will find its way down. And what a series. But Duluth Superiors will win out in Game 5.
That is the one you needed. It was right in your lap. 1 defender left. Back top right, wide open. And crossbar it is. I feel like, what a game, what a series. 1-0 feels like the way this one would have ended once you saw the start. I don't even know what to say. This was just such a great series. And like I said, Tibbles, the defensive prowess of the Superiors are the ones that hold out the Steelhawks in, the first matchup we've seen of these heavyweights.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully we'll see many more. Hopefully we'll see both teams at LAN, along with Green Bay Knights, and we can see even more action, top-tier premier action from them. But that will be the end of that series. Next up, we got Rochester Rhythm and Bloomington Maulers. We saw Rochester Rhythm earlier. They did take that loss against Brainerd Victory, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and that will not be me or Cole, actually. That'll be Quick Horizon, I believe, and Etro. So I will be saying goodbye to the casting cast. Casting. I was gonna say casting cast. No, casting disc. It's been a long day. All right, I've been casting since 10:30 this morning. So yeah, been a long day. But even more Rocket League. So it's gonna be a long night of Rocket League. And what more could you ask for? Rhythm and Mauler's coming up soon for you.
Oh, can you save me? Please come and chase me. 'Cause I ran from everything I know. Even though I gave all of my love to you, try so hard to keep this thing that grew between us, but my own past won't let me move. Under the pressure of the light, forcing myself to change, so I do hide from myself. Even when I get my own fight, searching for that place where we collide together.
I've been feeling just a little bit low. Got to get back to the show and we'll fly. Yeah. You don't have to feel like you're on your own. No one should have to dance alone, not tonight. You and me, we're gonna write a little history. You and me, just show me love and then you'll see. Memories that we make, they are never gonna fade for a lifetime. We don't give no shit if you wanna hide away. We just have to fields up in memory. I've been looking for somebody to make memories in the bank forever in time. There's no reason to be hard to find, 'cause we've already lost our mind. You and me, we're gonna write a little history. You and me, just show me love and then you'll see. Memories that we make, they are never gonna
but it took me time to care. No excuses, I'm feeling useless, 'cause you're not playing fair. We've been played by the hand we laid, knowing we will never win. Keep your turn as a lesson learned for the ending to begin. 'Cause it's settled in my mind, yeah, it's settled in my mind. 'Cause it's settled in my mind again. Yeah, it's settled in my mind, yeah, it's settled in my mind. 'Cause it's settled in my mind again. Things get old because we've been told that it shouldn't be this hard. You won't give because I won't take.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is me, Quick Horizon. I'm joined by Etro here. We just had a crazy first two matches there, Etro. I don't know if you happen to catch those two, but Victory taking on the Rhythm and Superiors and the Steelhawks. I mean, just crazy matchups to start off the night.
Yeah, I unfortunately was not able to catch it, but I heard that the Duluth Superiors were able to beat the Fargo Steelhawks, and those guys are pretty neck and neck in the top two positions, and so that must have been a very entertaining series to watch, and hopefully we can keep the ball rolling and have some more entertainment here for you. Coming up with it's Bloomington versus Rochester, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got the Maulers and
For the next
Rhythm
one.
up, which, speaking of powerhouses, I mean, this Rochester Rhythm squad looks so strong on paper, and the Mahler squad looks just as strong. Comet misspelt up there, Wesley and Zodak. For your Maulers, Wesley, previous Premier champion coming in. Zodak, I don't believe he has a championship under his belt, but he's no stranger to Premier. But super strong roster. And on the other side for Rochester, Volt Destroyer, Kyler, Stewie. So they did lose that first series of the night against Brainerd, but something to keep in mind is that they had a sub for the first game. Dicey was playing, which they won in place of Volt Destroyer, and then Volt Destroyer came back for game 2, and they just unfortunately weren't able to pull it together. But this matchup that we have right here, Rochester versus Bloomington, what are your predictions, Etro?
Oh man, this is a hard one. You know, I'm on Rochester right now, so part of me wants to be like, yeah, I want to go with my boys, the Rochester Rhythm, but Bloomington Maulers is also a very strong squad. I casted them last week, and man, I was impressed. So I think I'm gonna go with the Maulers 3-2 for this one.
You know, I'm going to go with the Maulers too, but I'm going to give them a little more space. I think that they can take it 3-1. If Wesley is firing on all cylinders and he's able to gel with his two teammates, I don't see how this squad could possibly be stoppable. Currently sitting at 3rd place. They're 5-2 right now. Super strong team, obviously, but Rochester is a consistently strong franchise across all levels of the league. Dicey really knows what he's looking for in players. When he drafts, he tends to draft really cohesive teams that tend to go the distance. So definitely not counting them out of this as we get game number 1 underway.
Very true.
Ooh.
We already have very early pressure coming out from the Rhythm. They get a goal. Zodak looking to take control, but Volt Destroyer is just ready for the bounce off the backboard there.
Stuffed
and
by Wesley, maybe?
Maybe, it seemed like it.
Maybe a little bit of a team stuff there, but first game getting under the way. Awkward touch from Zodak leaves space for Volt Destroyer, and that's not something you can do with Volt Destroyer. He is such a mechanical player, so strong anywhere on the field. You have to be shutting him down. Ooh, an opportunity from Wesley just goes wide of the net. Oh, Stewie there, looking to make a play on the ball. Volt's going to keep it in the Maulers' half. Getting control in his own corner, but like I was saying, Volt Destroyer, a very strong player. I'm kind of looking for Bloomington to try to shut him down, whether it be bumps, demos, or just cutting off his rotations, keeping the ball away from him as much as they can. He gets so deadly anywhere you give him the ball away.
Yeah, and something I remember is that Comet, he's one of the players also that you really have to watch out for. He's very good at taking control on the ball, and always getting at least a beat on one other person. So he's definitely a threat out on the field. So Rochester will have to come up with something to kind of deal with that for sure.
Well, and I mean, if they can continue to shut down the Maulers like they have been, I mean, an opportunity there for Comet. Just gets knocked wide. Rochester could win 1-goal games here. That's all the separation that they need. Stewie is a very strong defensive player, very smart player on the pitch, who just positions very well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this team get ahead by 1 and just lock it down from there, which is what they're doing as we approach the halfway point here. Rochester trying to hold on. An opportunity gets read by Zodak. Kind of an awkward jump, but it didn't matter. There were no defenders from Rochester there to do anything about that ball. It was just free pickings for him there. They're going to tie this up. 2:54 to go.
Yeah, a nice demo coming out by Wesley there to make sure that net stays open for Zodak to finish it up.
Huge teamwork there. Wesley and Zodak, definitely two guys that I've seen the chemistry out of them this season. I think that's part of the reason why they're up on the standings. Combined with, like you mentioned, Comet, who just a super strong player. I believe a rookie this season. Am I mistaken?
I believe you're correct with that one.
Yeah, rookie this season in Comet, coming out and tying together these two veterans. Zodak, been around for absolutely ever. Maybe this is the season you can finally get the championship. They're looking strong as I say that. Volt Destroyer, it's kind of a floater. I don't...
As you were saying, Zodak is a veteran. He accidentally misses a catch here, and that's all it is to make Comet awkward and just let the ball pop in.
That's Caster Curse. That's my bad.
Yeah,
we should take that back from them. But
yes. We just have to start saying stuff about the other team, and then
Right,
maybe it'll go the other way.
you know what? I am open to bribes. If there's anybody here watching and you'd like to see your career match go a little bit better, I will happily start talking about the other team if you just throw some donations in the chat there. But Comet getting control of this ball for Bloomington, pushing it down into the Rochester end. Volt Destroyer tries to make a move, crossed out center, dangerous ball there, but nobody able to capitalize on it. We're going to see Volt Destroyer try to dribble, cut off by Zodak in the midfield. Comet banging it into the Rochester corner. He's going to get cut off by Kyler. He looks like hold the ball. That demo almost opening up enough space, but Volt Destroyer with a very fast rotation back to cut off that play.
Wesley up, gets a flip reset. Comet up very quickly, unable to find the net though. Volt Destroyer looking for a pinch, but doesn't really have much power to it. Zodak up for solo, looks for a fake, maybe a bump, but Stewie's there to clear it. I don't know if you've noticed this quick. Oh, ooh. Stewie with double touch off the ground gets a goal in. I don't know if you've seen this. If you take a look at Volt Destroyer's car, I don't think something's right here. If you look at it, look at Volt Destroyer's car. His window, he's got like a glitched decal on or something.
Oh, I can't hop over to it because I'm running the stream and it's on the direct mode. But isn't that? I feel like I've seen that skin before. Is that not? Is it like moving weird?
No, it's he's got like, yeah, he's got like his windows are blue instead of like the normal color, and then his car's like white.
Look at that. You guys.
I wonder if that's gonna get.
And now we have cars just falling apart mid-game.
Yes, exactly.
Under a minute.
I don't know. Maybe it's the sauce. Maybe it's the sauce that Rochester needs to find the win here. It's obviously working.
Volt Destroyer's hacks live on stream. Clip this. Share it with your friends. You see it live here. Yeah, his car is kind of funky looking. I thought that is interesting, but well, I guess maybe fortunately, yeah, it's working out for him. They're up by 2, 30 seconds left. We're gonna need a miracle from the Maulers. Man, just the Maulers kind of lacking all over the field. I feel like I didn't see very strong solo plays coming out of them, and not a whole lot of teamwork, or at least not enough to break through this Rochester defense. They were rock solid, and I mean, a 1-goal game would have been good enough for them, but they were able to get another one to extend that lead. And oh, there we go.
Ooh.
All right, Maulers showing some signs of life.
Caster Curse coming in again and says, "Oh, would have been nice to have a 1-goal game."
Yeah, Zodak does something.
Yes, he's listening in. He's got 1 year with his comms, 1 year with the stream.
5 seconds left. Can we get something off the kickoff from the Maulers? Comet is going to have space, a little bit of boost to flick, and he
Oh my-
scores! 1 second. It's not overtime yet. We still got regulation here.
1 second remaining, and Maulers are able to tie this one up, and that must be a little bit disheartening if you're on the Rochester side to lose that so quickly. Well, not lose it, but lose the lead so quickly.
It was 2. They were up by 2.
I know. It took them 20 seconds to come back there. That's crazy. Comet looking for another attack here. Getting a 1 flip reset and a 50. Nice block by Stewie. Bolt Destroyer following this ball downfield. Looks for a pinch. Kyler's up. Looking for some control on this. He's got a player on backward to get around. Horse is 2 out, but Zodak taking some control. A shot by Volt off of the crossbar. Not quite in.
Finally seeing some of that solo play that I thought we were missing from the first half of this game. Stewie right
An insane save by Wesley.
Oh my gosh, what a shot from Stewie, and Zodak is barely there, but Rochester, it just came out swinging in this overtime. I mean, Kyler starting it off with a great solo play, followed up by Volt Destroyer getting control of the ball, getting a shot on net, but cleared away, and right there we saw them almost clinching game number 1 quick, but we're gonna pass a minute in this overtime as Wesley gets it past the last defender. Comet steals it to pad his stats, and they're gonna get the game winner. Maulers go up game number 1. Oh man, what a tight game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what a roller coaster of an overtime. That ball was like definitely over halfway in, and it just wasn't enough because Wesley made a crazy huge backflipping for that save too.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, we're restarting the lobby here, and I wonder if that was, well, it was coming from the Maulers side apparently, that were the ones lagging and asking for the restart. So, and they still won that game. So I wonder if that's like indicative of the performance at all, or if they're still able to pull through.
It might have
So
cleared
we'll
up
have
at
to
the
see how
end
that
too.
switches it.
It wouldn't surprise me if it got better, but yeah,
But yeah, it's still a crazy first game. Definitely some entertaining Rocket League out here on the pitch today.
Here's that for you. Yeah, no, game number 1. I don't think it changes my predictions for how the rest of this series is gonna play out. Bloomington taking it there. I would expect Rochester to adjust their gameplay a little bit. I don't know if Dicey's in call with them currently, but he's one of the best coaches in the league, so he's probably got he's in someone's ear, I'm sure, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them correct heading into game number 2 here. My biggest surprise is just how tight that game was. I kind of would have thought Maulers would have won it a little bit more handedly, but some struggles from them at the beginning, or I don't even know if it was struggles, just a little awkward.
Yeah, I mean, for like almost the entire game in regulation there, it seemed that I saw the Rochester Rhythm were able to work together and get a lot of passes off to each other quite well. Whereas on the Mahler side, it seemed like their positioning was a little bit far spaced out, and at times the Rochester were able to capitalize off that. And I think that's why they got the 3 goals on them, where Maulers were only got 1. But then I guess something happened, and it just clicked for them at the very end of the game, and they're able to tie that up. That's absolutely crazy. And then to pull around and make a win, I think that's like one of the quickest comebacks we've ever seen.
Yeah, no, over the course of a minute, they scored 3 goals, and there was only 30 seconds left when they got the first one. Not
No,
even that.
I thought it was like less than 20
Okay,
seconds.
yeah, no, it was
Yeah,
super
it was
low on
very
the clock
short.
there. I sent you a different server information. They're having some issues getting into it. So we do have all the players in the server now. We are gonna get them rolling here as soon as we can. But game number 2 predictions, do you think that Maulers are going to take this one as well? Or is this the one where the Rhythm can come back?
I don't know. The Maulers definitely have the momentum coming into this one, but there's still 5 minutes of gameplay, so really anything can happen. You know, I think that I'd like to say that Rhythm are going to kind of find a response here. If not, it's going to put them in a really tough spot. You don't really want to let a team go up 2-0, or else it's going to be a struggle for you to get even to game 5, and then, you know, even after that, the other team could just win it right back.
Yeah, you know, I feel like we've
feel like
seen a
everything's
lot
for
of game
nothing.
5s this season. I feel like there's been a lot of reverse sweeps, especially on the premier level. I mean, Bemidji has just kind of been plagued with them. Volt Destroyer reaches this one off the ceiling, gets the bounce past the defender, scores it. But yeah, maybe this season teams aren't as worried about going to game 5 with all the veterans that we have. Might quell those nerves a little bit. It just becomes a one game at a time style of Rocket League from there. And, you know, some people thrive under that, Etro. They're able to kind of hold on to that and get control from there. As Rochester, there's another one. That's twice now that Rochester has been absolutely robbed on the goal line.
That was a crazy shot going off both posts before finding its way out. That was definitely a close shot. Good attempt by Kyler there. And Rochester's keeping this pressure on the Maulers half, but a bump comes out from Wesley. Maybe opens up some space for the Maulers for a counterattack. There's a clear downfield. Bolt seems a little awkward, but Stewie's up for him. Able to get a clear downfield, looking to follow it up, but Wesley has a clear back. Boltstar trying to take some control, but Zodak passes to Wesley. Wesley pass, almost, but barely blocked off. Zodak up for double, unfortunate, we couldn't get it. Pass mid to Kyler. Kyler's taking some time on it, but Wesley was there for the save.
Man, Kyler really showing his chops here. He started in Challenger, didn't he? And he got pulled up during this trade window.
Yeah, I believe that's accurate.
Man, yeah, and he is showing why he deserves to be up here in Premier. Crazy solo plays coming out from him. We're going to see him again get control of this ball at the midfield. On the wall, looks to pop it past Sodak. Sodak gets the demo and the ball. 50 goes way up the Maulers. Stewie's going to clear it out. Kyler is there, but his shot goes over the net. Comet now tries to get the ball pushed out towards midfield. He's going to beat 2. Zodak has to beat the last player, but Stewie cuts him off for Rochester. And now we are going to see the Rhythm have an opportunity here to get the ball going the other way. Oh, just left bouncing in midfield, and Wesley's going to pick it up. A lot of bang ball going on here, Etro. Seems like both teams are kind of scared to have a 50 go the wrong way and maybe get 2 players beat.
Yeah, it's very true. And I feel like both teams are doing a good job of keeping so much pressure on the ball that there's not really time to really catch and control the ball. So that's why we're not seeing it that much. Although there are their moments still where they're able to recognize they have time, and they're gonna utilize that and try to milk the most out of the play as they can. A nice block there by Wesley, and it sets up perfectly for Kame. He's up in the air with 100 boost. He gets bumped off the ball, but almost still gets the double touch. That was a very nice attempt, yes.
Yeah, but they have to be getting those. We saw this last game where Rochester gets up by 1, and this is a comfortable spot for them. They definitely don't feel like they need to rush to get another goal to increase that lead. Ooh, there we go. Every time I talk about either of these teams, that's just where it falls apart. What? Kyler just gets beat by Zodak, and Volkstrike goes up awkward. Stewie assumed he had the ball. Started rotating wide and left it wide open for Zodak. They're going to tie it up 1-1. But, you know, again, Rochester, a team that is comfortable with a tight scoreline. So I don't think this is going to shake them too much. If anything, it'll bolster them. Wesley almost gets the double, but he doesn't have to. Comet is there off the rip. Another kickoff goal for these Maulers boys. They play fast and they hit hard. Man, super tight rotations coming out from them.
Yeah, for sure. Almost exactly like last game, but just a little bit more time on the clock. You know, it seemed like Rochester so confidently had the control of the game, but just for it to be taken out from under their legs just like that.
100%. approaching the 1 minute mark here. Mahler's now holding the lead, I believe, for the first time this series. Yeah, for the first time this series. And they're going to look to shut down Rochester here. Comet dribbling the ball out towards midfield, pushes along the wall. He's going to stay on it. 50 by Stewie goes way of the Maulers. The bump leaves it open for Wesley. Oh, but the pinch save leads it straight to Zodak. Oh my gosh. What in the world is happening here for the Maulers? Crazy pinch off the demo. Perfectly pops up. It waterfalls down to Zodak. And no defenders left for Rochester. Now, this is hilarious because the shoe is literally on the other foot for the Maulers now. Can Rochester do to the Maulers what happened to them last year?
Yeah. We'll have to see. 46 seconds left. Comet looking for a counterattack here. Volt up with a nice touch to his own corner. Gets another double. Zodak backflips. Potentially in a little awkward spot. It's demoed off. But Wesley's up to... He's going to fake that he has control of the ball, but he's 0 boost. Kyler still gets a nice 50. Bolt Destroyer on the backboard looking for a clear out. Zodak there to collect it. He's going to take some time. Go for a 50 round 2. That's a very threatening position to be stuck in with Volt. Wesley looking for the Cucks pinch, unable to get it. Volt Destroyer gets a beat over 1, but his double's not good.
I really like what I'm seeing from the Maulers. They're playing good, slow, smart Rocket League. Playing their 50s really strong, creating space where they can, just kind of keeping the ball away from Rochester. And they're going to seal that game. Time series up 1-1. Maulers take game number 2, 3-1. Yeah, that was kind of how
Actually, I think
Oh,
it's
I'm sorry.
It's 2-0, yeah.
2-0. I got mixed up there. Yeah, no, you're right. Maulers are now forcing potentially the sweep against Rochester.
Yeah.
Is this the first time that this squad has had to overcome a reverse sweep? It possibly could be.
I believe maybe you're right, but I think 2 weeks ago, if I recall, they did actually get the reverse sweep. I think that was Stewie's first week on. Maybe it was before Stewie came in though.
Oh no, I
I'm
think
not
you're right.
entirely
Yeah.
sure,
So maybe comfortable
but
in this situation. Like I said, here is the space where teams that thrive under pressure have that opportunity to do that. Take this just one game at a time, one goal at a time, slow it down, and this is their opportunity to clutch up and take this one. And with this season, where you don't get single individual points for game wins, it's just all about the overall series win. I think
hmm
that teams who perform well under that sort of pressure are going to thrive this season.
yeah, very true. I mean, the win is really all that matters. Game 5s don't really, make much of a difference except for, I guess, like maybe just getting in the head and then like knowing their play style for whenever the major comes around or when play-ins come around, just to how to maybe work around that team. You've gotten very close before, it might give you that information you need to do it again.
Yeah, very true. I believe Comet was having some issues with Epic. He is switching really quick. So we're just waiting for a second for that. But yeah, Etro, Rochester not even taking a single game so far, having to face down the reverse sweep. This is pretty
Yeah.
exciting. I love how we went from super tight game 5 last series, going to this series where potentially the Maulers looking to run away with it, which would be huge for them, being in third place. These Steelhawks losing that last match, bringing them a little bit closer and potentially into the reach of the Maulers, depending on how their other series goes tonight.
Yeah, well, with both of these games, it's kind of seemed like Rochester Rhythm. They've had it very strong for like the first 4 minutes of the game, but as soon as that last minute comes around, something happens in their brains, and it seems like they're a little bit, almost scared and panicking, and Maulers are just able to capitalize that and like instantly turn the game back around in their favor.
That is something that Wesley has always just been super good about. Just the way that he plays around people who make mistakes. You just can't. He's going to capitalize every time. He's super dangerous no matter where you put him around the goal. As long as he's got boost to work with, he can get the shot on. But an account change coming out from Comet. We're going to see game number 3 starting off hot and heavy for Rochester. They're trying to score quick here. Stewie looks for the demo. Comet's going to control it out. Beats Volt Destroyer, getting it to the midfield. Kyler's going to try to pop it out to his teammate. Volt banging it out, leaves it to Kyler. 50 down to Stewie at the midfield. Rochester now trying to collect this ball, get something going on the Maulers' end, but Maulers just shutting them down. Really solid 50s coming out from them, not allowing that ball to just kind of wildly ricochet. And really controlled touches, loving them seeing from them.
Yes. Stewie bringing this ball up the sidewall, looking for a pass mid. Kyler to himself off the backboard, maybe blocked off by Comet. Comet gets another beat over, and he might have an open net here. Oh, man. Can I just say, I think that Comet is definitely MVP of this series. Every single time he's touching the ball, he's getting it past 1, maybe 2 players. You know, even thinking way back to that game 1 where they made that really quick comeback, you know, I think 2 of those goals were the 2 goals to tie up the game were completely off of a great play from Comet.
Yeah, super strong player for this. I'd agree 100%. Absolutely the MVP. Showing why the Maulers are in the position that they are for this season. Etro, you've been playing this season. How has the double headers back-to-back weeks been affecting how the season felt, or does it add to any fatigue or anything like that?
You know, I personally haven't really noticed anything, but that's just me talking individually, me as a player. I think definitely one thing that is very important with the double headers is that, you know, the teams really have to have a strong mental, because if that starts to change at all in the first game, then by the time that second series comes around, you know, it's still going to affect you, even if you think it won't. It's still going to play a small role into how the game goes. So you definitely have to, you know, you have to stay strong and not let anything that happens affect you. But I mean, other than that, I definitely think it doesn't really change it that much. It is more Rocket League, so for some players, it could be a little much, you know.
It definitely is a lot more Rocket League for these teams. I mean, especially if you're playing a lot of game 5s. Back-to-back game 5s can definitely be taxing. And what we might be seeing right now for Rochester is some of that fatigue coming out. Having already played one game, maybe feeling a little down from it, and now having to feel again like they have to fight back. It would not surprise me at all if that is a factor that needs to be accounted for with these players. And yeah, definitely interesting how this condensed season is differently impactful than our other previous seasons. Maybe something that GMs will be keeping in mind for seasons to come. But here we have under halfway. Maulers are leading. Rochester now trying again to come back. This is not something that they have been crazy successful at, and Maulers are just, quite frankly, looking incredibly strong. They're not necessarily ripping every shot that they can possibly get. They're playing a slow, controlled game of Rocket League. It's super fun to watch.
Yeah, and the Maulers actually have the lead first in this one, which hasn't happened yet. The other 2 games, Rochester was always the first one to find the lead. So it's definitely a different story being written in this game. So maybe that's what the Rochester needs to maybe come back and, you know, force a game 4.
They gotta do something. They gotta... Is it demos? Do they just gotta pick up the plays? I feel like Maulers are just kind of shutting them down everywhere. Comet especially, right there we see it. A great challenge coming off the wall to stuff the ball past another defender. Super strong 50s coming out on the side of the Maulers. I feel like that's just kind of the separating factor between these 2 teams.
Comet, they're beating 2 players again after beating the first, so kind of beating all 3 players, but unfortunately unable to score off of that. But yeah, he's definitely a very strong player on the pitch. Kyler with a pass up to Stewie. Stewie looking for a bump, it seems, but doesn't quite get it. Bolt, maybe a 50 in, not quite. Comet here to pick up the ball. Kyler pops it to himself, gets it over 1, gets it over 2. And a crazy save by Comet, unable to fully find the net, but a great control out there by Kyler. And then another shot from Volt, blocked by Zodak.
How in the world did Kyler fall to Challenger? Are you kidding me? This guy is absolutely insane. Crazy dribble from him. almost gets them back in this, but Rochester's still down by 1. Zodak is going to take this ball high up the midfield. Kyler cuts him off. Wesley is going to be there. Awkward challenge by him. Bolt Destroyer has an opportunity to tie this up. Tries to go low, but Wesley cuts him off. Ballers are going to take this in a sweep. And just a commanding, dominating performance from them. They started off hot and just kind of held on to it. Very tight games, which is something we had talked about during that series. Not really any blowouts, unless we count a 2-goal lead a blowout, but very, very tight series.
Yeah, very true. It was also kind of a roller coaster. With Maulers finding their way to come back after that first game, and they kind of kept that momentum going the rest of the time through, with Rochester only seeing 1 goal after that happened in the entire 2 games after that. So definitely a force to be reckoned with. I feel like they're a team that people want on their radars, looking towards the major and towards the lanes and the land, because they're a force to be reckoned with. And people have to start maybe figuring out ways to work around their strengths and figure out a way to beat them, because from the past two weeks here, I haven't really seen any way. I think they 3-1 last week, and then they got the 3-0 this week. So definitely something that some teams are going to have to figure out how to maybe work around.
Yeah, quite the start there. And, something that we talked about during that series was this is a doubleheader season. We have a lot of back-to-back matches that are being played. And up next for you guys, we have got the Maulers again, but this time they are taking on the St. Paul Senators. So we are going to be back in just a second. You are good. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're clear. Dude, same. PM? Were you up all night? Jesus. MCS 5 is name and pass. Dude, I have got a super consistent. No, they can't. Oh, they can hear me.
I need to confess. Saw you in that red dress. I can't seem to understand how you got all that finesse. Still been running in circles inside my head. Wasn't looking for love, but baby, I found you instead.
Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Not that you're mine. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, 'cause I know where I'm at.
We are back, everybody, with your final MCS match of the night. It is Quick Horizon, joined by Etro. I forgot to switch the names during that break there. We'll do it right now on the fly. I learned from the best. Stewie taught me everything I know. Etro, welcome back. What a crazy night it's been.
Yeah, we just saw a sweep coming out. This last series was Bloomington sweeping Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
And, Comet definitely was, really showing us how it's done, like consistently getting it past one or two players every time he got contact on the ball. And, we got St. Paul Senators versus Bloomington Maulers again, so we'll get to see that action again. And, I'm going to predict, I think that they're going to sweep it again. They looked super strong last game, and I think they got it in them to do it again.
Yeah, we mentioned a couple times all the doubleheaders this season. I think the momentum is a really big factor that we have to keep in mind, and that momentum is all on the side of the Maulers. Did you happen to catch the Senators' other scoreline? Anybody in chat, do you guys know how their other match went for today? Oh, I think they might have actually rescheduled it. Anybody in chat, if you guys know what happened with their other match? But here is a huge opportunity for Maulers to continue that climb up to first place. that last series taking down Rochester doesn't exactly change anything for the team standing in their way, but they're currently at 3rd place with Duluth and Fargo ahead of them. We know Fargo lost their match against Duluth on stream, so that's already one opportunity for the Maulers to gain points. If Fargo loses the other one and Maulers take this, a 10-point swing is absolutely massive.
Yeah, that would almost. I think that's enough to bring them up into 2nd place if Fargo. If Fargo has lost both of their matches, that would be 2nd place dethroned, and that would be pretty unfortunate to see from the Fargo Steelhawks because they've had a very strong season so far.
Yeah, they had a commanding start to this season. I believe they were 6-0 before they finally lost their first game.
Yeah, and since they lost like last week, that's when they took their first loss as well, and so that would be 2 weeks back to back where they take their losses. So, that could be a signal of a downturn from the team, which is a little unfortunate to see for them. But we'll see. We'll see next week if they can. They don't have another game this week, so we'll see if next week they can swing that around and make a change and kind of bring it back and avoid needing to play in and just auto qualify for LAN.
That's obviously the dream. Now, we haven't, I don't believe, officially decided on what teams will qualify for LAN. It's a little bit different this season. Having cut down Prospect, expanded across the other leagues, it's a little bit funky how that works out. So, but in previous seasons, 1st and 2nd place for your league has traditionally moved on to qualify for LAN. So likely we'll see a similar thing like that. Which means that Maulers are even closer to where they want to be than one would think. But that's all still to be determined. And the major shakes up everything so much anyway. It's not like the regular season really keeps anybody too safe.
Yeah, very true. There's a lot of points to be had. Well, we have all 6 players in the lobby, and man, am I excited for this match. I want to see exactly what comes out of this. Senators, we have a relatively new team with Timmy coming onto the team. So we have Timmy, Midas, and Mystic, which can definitely be the team that can, shut down Maulers here after the little 3-0. But, I still stand with what I said. I think that the Maulers are going to take it in 3.
Yeah, I also have the Maulers taking this. I don't know if they take it in 3. I have big hopes for this Senators squad. This is such a crazy strong team on paper. Midas, Timmy, and Mystic. All veterans on this. Mystic last season being his first, but aside from that, everybody else on that roster is veterans. So who knows what they've been able to string together in the last week of being a team as Midas gets a crazy save on the goal line. Looks to feed it out to Timmy, but it gets cut off by Wesley. Wesley, a balaclava wearing menace on the field right now, shutting down the Senators as we get game number 1 underway.
Yeah, already almost for an entire minute, it's been control by the Maulers on the Senators' half, and they've gotten maybe two attempts to come back the other way, but a shot coming up from Comet, unfortunately, Mystic wasn't able to fully get the save here. Definitely a well-placed shot, forcing Mystic to jump because he has to cover the shot above option, but when you roll it and they jump, it gives that opportunity below them.
Yeah, just a little bit awkward. Keeps that one open, and again, Maulers starting off quick, getting the lead. This is somewhere that they've thrived tonight already. This could potentially be that momentum we were talking about coming out in play, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them score again here, but Senators trying to stop that from happening. Mystic is going to lay this one up out the center. No teammates there. Zodek has a free pass to Wesley, potentially free ball. Cut off by Mystic. A diving save coming out from the defenseman to keep this game at only a 1-goal separation. The Senators now trying to get something going on their own half. Wesley's going to dribble the ball, almost getting it on net. Cut away by Mystic. Zodak trying to collect the ball in the corner. It's going to get 50 away by Midas. ball now bouncing out towards the mid wall. Wesley again trying to get control. He's going to go for the solo play, but not enough boost. And the Senators again find themselves with an opportunity, just banging the ball away. An awkward bounce by Midas, almost leads it center. No, Mystic misses the double. Oh man, huge opportunity there for the Senators. Barely off though.
Yes, just barely. Well, something I've already noticed from this game that we didn't see last series much at all is that the Senators are coming out with 2 demos already, and I think that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the series. We're going to see them with a good amount of demo pressure, and so that might be enough to like even right there the bump pressure kind of messed up Wesley, and they get a goal out of it with a great pass. If you watch this replay, Wesley kind of looked for a bump. It doesn't quite show it. Kind of looked for. Or I think it was Mystic looked for a bump on Wesley, and that kind of made it so he couldn't challenge. Gave Timmy the opportunity to pass that to Mystic.
Yeah, the rotations on side of the Maulers have been rock solid tonight. They got to find another way to break that up. I think you're right. Even if you're not getting the demo and you're just chasing a player, as soon as you get a couple demos, the other team doesn't care what your purpose is when you come driving at them. They are going to get out of the way. Ooh, an opportunity from Zodak gets cut away by Mystic. But yeah, if the Senators can start to get a few demos out of their rotation, might break up the Maulers and force them to give the Senators a bit more space, which will allow them to use that teamwork I'm sure they've been building over the last week. As you see Mystic feed it up to Midas. Midas just barely off target. Gonna get cleared into the corner by Zodak, and the Maulers are looking to collect the ball in their own half. Comet 50 by Mystic. Ball is bouncing out towards midfield. Midas looks to get it on net, but he's just off on that left side. He's just off twice. The shooting from the Senators definitely not the best that they've got. Few off target here as Midas gets stopped by Wesley. Another opportunity. It's left slow. What is Zodak doing? He's giving it to him. Good guys, Zodak, letting Senators get ahead.
Yeah, I think Zodak expected the shot to come out pretty quick, and since it was so slow, he kind of wasn't positioned for it to kind of find its way to the bottom right corner like it did. Well, with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, it scores 2-1s with the Senators leading. Let's see if Maulers can maybe figure out a response to this.
Did you see the flashlights in the camera? Timmy and who else was that? Timmy and Wesley putting or was it Timmy? Do I have some? I might have something on camera. What was up? Oh, Mystic. That's who it was. Flashing their flashlights in the camera. Is that a?
Oh, I don't have the cams on, so I didn't see that. But own goal. That's unfortunate to see.
Oh man, yeah. Great bang by Mystic. An awkward hit by Wesley.
Crazy pass from Zodak and to be finished off by I think Wesley. Man, that was some.
Great team plays coming out from the Maulers. Senators now extending their lead by 2 as we approach 30 seconds left. Comet is just gonna try to get him right back into this one though. Maulers obviously not too worried about being down by 2 because 1 second is too much time for these guys.
Yeah. Again, Comet looking to equalize it like he did last series. And, only 1 goal, 35 seconds, and see what happens. Already very nice pressure coming out from the Maulers. A pinch mid, it might be it. Timmy with a nice save off of his own post.
I thought that was it for sure. I thought the Maulers had already come back and tied this one up. But Timmy, yeah, great defensive read there to barely get it off to the side. Maulers again looking for an opportunity. Awkward team pinch there between Mystic and Timmy. It's left for Zodak. He puts it on.
This Maulers team is absolutely on fire. They don't care if they're down with 30 seconds left. That's not going to stop them. That's absolutely insane. That's 2 games already today where they've done that. That's too much time. If it's not within 5 seconds, you better be ready because these guys are going to come out firing on the kickoff.
Man, this is last series all over again for the Maulers. 3-3, pushing overtime. Timmy is going to look to shut this one out though. Great bounce off the ceiling. Midas puts it top corner. Ends it at the 0 second mark.
It seems like we have spokes too soon yet again.
Man.
The passer curse is really coming out strong today. That was a great pass and even a better placed shot. So,
That
yeah.
Chow Force, absolutely. What a shot by Midas to stop that one from going to OT. Wow, Senators, there we go. So the sweep isn't happening.
Nope. I was incorrect in my prediction. Imagine that.
Well, man, I feel like the Maulers really commanded there. Up until the end, they let go a little bit, and that 2-goal gap, they were able to overcome it within, 20 seconds. But the Senators clearly proving that they're just as comfortable in that tight scenario. We have, looks like Comet is restarting his PC quick. He's been having some FPS issues. This game has been great ever since Epic bought it. I'm so happy that Epic is the majority owner of Rocket League, as I'm sure everybody at home is as well. Let us know in the chat how you feel about Epic owning Rocket League. But Etro, we're gonna get game number 2 underway once we get the guys back in here. What are your thoughts about what the Maulers or maybe the Senators need to do better in game number 2?
Well, I think that game just came down to, there's 2 goals that, are probably much easier, like a pretty easy save in my opinion. We have the one where it's a little bit awkward for Zodak, and it unfortunately snuck its way around, and then we have the second goal where there's the accidental own goal from the backboard. And, I think without those 2 or even without those 1, that was all that Maulers needed to win that game. So I think if they just clean that up and that doesn't happen again, they probably still have this series in a fairly commanding way.
Yeah,
But,
very-
that being said, the Senators are doing a fantastic job of, kind of controlling the ball a little bit better than I feel like we saw from last series, and kind of forcing Maulers into positions that are gonna create some cracks in the defense for the Senators to score. So,
yeah.
they're definitely posing a threat in this game.
Mhm.
I see Timmy for example is one that I saw, taking a couple of really good 50s that were really able to open up a lot of space. And, sometimes getting it past up to 2 players.
Yeah, I put the stats up for the people at home to see, and 6 demos on the side of the Senators. Timmy having 3 assists, no goals. So he was playing full support that game. And I believe it was Timmy that dished the ball up to Midas for that game winner. So yeah, just this team definitely doesn't look like a new roster. Feels like they've been playing since day 1 of the season.
Yeah, something I also noticed, and this is their Senators' second game of the day as well. They just played a series before this, but it seemed like in that first game, Midas, there's definitely a couple of opportunities that he had to score, and it kind of seemed like he slightly got a missed touch from what he exactly wanted to do, and it was just enough for it to not go in, or enough for it to get saved. So I think if that cleans up a little bit, and that might be what the Senators need to start to take this series.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we got everybody back in the lobby. Apologies for the delay there, guys. But we are going to get back underway. Game number 2 here. Senators maybe iced a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't affect them too much. But the momentum of the Maulers essentially stopped there. If they lose this next game, I would say it's completely reversed. Arguably, these 2 teams should probably be about even as far as mental momentum goes, but you never know until you see what they bring out to the pitch. As Timmy looks for the flip reset, almost gets the solo play, but left with no boost. Midas causing a little chaos at the front of the net. Not quite enough for Mystic to get it on net, though. Comet now in his own corner. Crazy pinch. Bangs the ball out towards the Senators side, but Midas is there to cut it off. Great pinch from Zodak and Wesley to clear the ball away. Senators now having to restart on the attack.
The Senators are definitely keeping a lot of pressure on the half of the Maulers. And as I say that, open net, I don't know exactly what happened, but it seemed that like all of the Maulers came forward. They're all the way in the 4th not even the third, the fourth of the Senators half. So
Yeah, I believe I saw Wesley and Zodak both rotating for the Senators' corner boost at the same time, leaving comment, unfortunately, all by himself. The Senators are going to go up by 1. Game number 2, definitely going to see if they can get another one quick here to extend that lead and then maybe try to lock down defensively. But we'll have to see. Not any demos so far this game, maybe one demo. For the Senators? I'm not sure if I've caught one yet.
yeah, I'm not sure if there's been a demo, but I think that last goal, there was a bump onto Comet, which was enough to kind of create that open net across the field. So definitely, I think the demos are partly why the Senators are able to find so much more pressure than the Rochester were against this Maulers team.
Senators looking, there it is. Create some space in front of the Maulers net. Zodak going to make it down to Comet. An opportunity for the Maulers just off, cleared away by Midas. Ball now bouncing at the midfield. Timmy is going to look to make a play on this one. A bump on Mystic clears him away, makes him no longer a threat. Zodak gets a free touch on net, but an easy clear for Midas, and the Senators now in their own half, getting pressured by the Maulers. Comet keeping this ball on the Senators' side. We're going to see Wesley collect this one in the corner, trying to get a shot with no boost. It gets banged away by Mystic. Now Comet at the midfield, trying to make a play for the Maulers. A lot of bang ball going on here. Wesley trying to get the center, but Midas cuts it off. And now Timmy gets it past one defender. Zodak is going to bang it right back. Almost an opportunity, but cut off by Mystic. An aggressive rotation coming out from the Senators. They have no defenders back. Almost works out for him, but Zodak cuts off Mystic. A fantastic opportunity for the Senators, but an even better defensive showcase from the Maulers. As Midas gets denied by Comet. Almost gets the play off of him, but just stopped. What a fantastic save from Comet.
Yeah, it's very true. We have Zodak in the midfield looking for a 50. Wesley up in the air, unfortunately misses that one, but Comet's there, gets another 50. Zodak off of the sidewall to himself, gets a touch over off of the crossbar, but not quite in. Midas clearing this one out to himself, unfortunately misses the touch, and we have Wesley here looking for a shot. Timmy gets the save. There's definitely opportunity there, but unfortunately they're saved or just slightly off every time. Comet looking to bring this one downfield. Gets blocked by Mystic. Zodak with the touch out. Timmy with the touch back. Midas up in the air off the backboard. Able to follow up, and Wesley unfortunately misreads that. And now the ball is flying all the way to the Mauler's side, but there's nobody back. But unfortunately there's nobody on the Senators' side to really kind of continue the play.
Yeah, you know, I feel like this game we've seen better opportunities from both teams. Their shots having to be defended this game rather than just being off target. So both teams definitely warming up a little bit. Senators more so. I love the opportunities that they are creating and the shots that they're taking. Getting the ball up high to get it past the defenders, and then either looking for a shot on themselves or trying to dish it to a teammate somehow. By bringing that ball up into the air, they're just creating so many more opportunities to feed the ball down to that second man out from the net, and not quite able to convert, but they don't have to because they are ahead right now. As you saw Timmy almost get a solo play goal shut down by the Maulers right in front of their net. He is hungry for one right now. You see him look.
10 seconds left, and Maulers need something right now.
Oh, did they get
Comet
it?
up in the air looking for the dunk, but the bump is enough to kind of dissuade that attack.
Nice shot, Wesley.
Now, Wesley with the own goal to kind of seal the deal for the Senators.
If they're going to lose,
That's
they're going to lose on
two.
these terms.
Yeah, that's 2-0 now for Senators.
That's also-
Senators winning 2 games.
also
2-0?
2 goals
2-0. Yeah.
by Wesley in his own net this series. What a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I said if the Maulers want to make something happen, they got to not do that. You know, it came out yet again.
Yeah, taking a look at the scoreline for that game, we had 8 shots, for the Senators, 8 shots for the Maulers, but Senators just more successful on the defensive end, or honestly, in the Senators' shots, just more on target than the Maulers were. Feels like Maulers kind of default back to bang ball, which doesn't work very well when you're behind. You got to get ahead, and it's tough to score off of playing bang ball just because you're never sure where that ball is going to end up. So you often end up overcommitting, and that's how we saw the Maulers getting scored on there was because of those overcommits.
Yeah, very true. And I wonder if Comet with him having his FPS problems, if that's also kind of getting in his head a little bit and kind of affecting how confident and able he is on the
Yeah.
field, on top of the actual hindrance of that technical difficulty.
Yeah, this level of Rocket League, definitely a mental game. You have to make sure that you're in the right element in order to do the best that you can on the pitch, and we've seen a full reset come out from the Senators. Looks like the overlay got upset and broke there. The Senators up by 2, and Mahler's gonna score quick off the rip here. Wesley bangs off Midas, great bump there. Solo play and the dunk from Comet seals it for him. They are now leading, which is exactly where they want.
Yes, very true. And can I also just say, I think Timony, that's the new name. But Timmy has played a fantastic series so far with these 2 games. He's, the first game created a lot of opportunities. In that second game, he technically scored both of the goals, even though one of them was a little bit of a own goal at the end. But
yeah.
Timmy's definitely showing that he's got what it takes in Premier. I think he came up from Challenger about 2 weeks ago, up to Premier. So
Timmy
he's definitely showing
came
he
up
has
the
the-
free agency. He
okay.
hadn't been playing, so technically cold coming in.
But yeah, he's definitely showing that he's got what it takes to really make a difference with this team, and that's what this team was looking for.
Yeah, I don't know if you recall last season for Timmy, lots of opportunities for it to be a successful season, trying to head into the postseason, and unfortunately he got blocked in Challenger and in Premier at every possible game that he could have won to push it to... Oh, as Mystic gets the double tap on. But yeah, Timmy, rough season last season. I have to imagine he's coming into this Senators roster trying to make it as successful as possible. And there we go. We see them making it happen as Mystic taps it in to tie this game up.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but I think Midas got a bump onto Wesley, who was last back, and that opened the net completely up. So those bumps are definitely making a huge impact for the offense of the Senators. And it's working against this Maulers team, who are currently 3rd in standing. So that's definitely Senators coming from 11th in standing, making a statement here, saying, I don't care what your numbers on the standing say. I know how to beat you, and I'm gonna do it my way.
Absolutely. We predicted a sweep, but this is not the sweep that we were expecting. Midas with the crazy save and Mystic with the follow-up. Oh my gosh, what a great pinch off the inside of his own goal, and Timmy converts off of 2 defenders. What in the world is happening right now on this Mahler's half?
Midas sees Timmy all the way on the left side of the field there, and Timmy, he gets that redirect, and it barely goes off of the two defenders that were in net. Honestly, a great shot.
Man, yeah, Mystic in the chat there saying they don't believe that they've actually scored a goal yet. He might have a case. Maulers have been very generous with what they've been giving them, but an unfortunate ghost hit there from Zodak. I don't know if maybe it just tipped off that way or what happened, but that seemed kind of like an awkward touch that fed it down and allowed Timmy just to kind of have a free net there. But Maulers now on the back foot as they approach halfway in what is potentially series points. They need to do something, and they need it now. Is Mystic with a fantastic read. Oh my gosh, showing why he is a first-round pick. Having only come in at the end of last season as a rookie, And now stepping in as his first full season with the Senators. Absolutely great shot there.
Yeah, and I've seen this happen countless times this series where, you know, the Senators have the ball and you're looking down at the defense of the Maulers and there's just like nobody there yet. And you know, sometimes they're able to barely get back, but sometimes it's just the complete open net that they're getting. And so I feel like you were saying earlier, the little bit of offense overcommit is really kind of taking a toll on them. And the demo pressure coming out from the Senators definitely is not helping that whatsoever.
A little bit of an overcommit there from the Senators, but they are up by 2, so that's some wiggle room that you're allowed to play with and do that sort of stuff. As Midas tries to feed it to Timmy, he goes just wide over the net. We're gonna look to see if he can center this one, but Zodak cuts it off. Comet now, trying to feed it to Wesley. Timmy interrupts that play. Wesley now trying to get a shot on net. Great power, but Midas is there. And now we might see an odd man rush coming out for the Senators as Mystic goes up on the ball. Midas, excuse me. But it gets cleared away. Maulers now just trying to bang the ball away. Catch the Senators awkward on a back rotation. And then capitalize. And Wesley almost does exactly that. Just off the crossbar. Zodak trying to shut down the Senators in their own corner. It's going to get cleared away, though. Double quit by Midas and Timmy doesn't matter. Wesley picks it up on his own backboard. And we're approaching the final minute. Maulers definitely not out of this.
They're definitely not out of this. You know, we've seen it already happen 2 times, almost 3, actually 3 times, I think, today. So it's definitely possible for these guys. If anybody, these are the fellows that are going to make the comeback in the last minute. You know, they really pop off when it matters.
Do you
but
think that's in the Senators' head? I wonder if that might be messing with them if they know that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
They've seen it.
They have seen it. But you know, honestly, this time around, the defense coming out from the Senators side is also so strong that, you know, I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Zodak looking for sidewall double. Wesley to the backboard, but no follow-up there right away. Zodak trying to control this, but doesn't get the boost. He's on 0. He gets a flick out, and Timmy's able to easily read that one. A little bit of bumper car action happening there.
Man, there it is.
Yeah, and you know,
They swept.
I predicted a sweep. But I predicted it the other way, so that was very surprising to me. Definitely a well-deserved though for the Senators. They had a very, very strong performance throughout the series.
Did we caster curse like every game for the last 2
Yeah,
series?
you know what? I think maybe we need to be banned from casting after that
I'm so
one.
sorry, everybody watching at home, if you were hoping for one of those teams to win. But also, you're welcome to the other guys. I'd like to remind you, we are open to bribes. But Senators sweeping it, just absolutely insane, Etro. That I'm reeling.
Yeah, no, it really is insane. It's not at all what I expected, but you know, Senators came out with a different flow in the game, and I think those demos really were the thing that opened it up for them to, you know, keep a lot of the pressure up.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that Timmy is the one this game that deserves the MVP. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but you know, Timmy, just to me, it seemed like he was always the one that's able to either start the counterattacks, or from there, also use the one to create scoring opportunities in the first game, or being the one that scored the only goal that really mattered in that second game to give him the victory.
I'd agree. I feel like Timmy did that series what we saw Comet do last series. Definitely
Yes,
kind of
very
felt like
true.
Comet wasn't able to pull together what he was doing last series versus Rochester versus the Senators here. And Timmy kind of filled in that role, but we saw Timmy do everything on the field, whether it was defensive, offensive, if he was just supporting his teammates and letting them do their thing, or getting control of the ball and scoring himself. That was fantastic to see, and I'm really hoping to see him continue to succeed on that Senators squad. But let's take a quick look, recap at the matches that we had tonight. We had the victory taking down your first match. Superiors taking down the Steelhawks, your number 1 versus the number 2 seed. Superiors extending that lead over the Steelhawks. Then we have the Maulers sweeping the Rhythm, followed by the Maulers getting swept by the Senators. You can't write a more exciting script, Etro.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. And you know, the Senators really needed this win. Being in 11th place with not much longer left in the season, only 2 weeks after this of games before the major. You know, they definitely need to get some games back, and then they need a good major performance to really kind of solidify a chance at land here. And you know, I think they're doing that with this new roster change. So
Yeah,
definitely very cool to see that happen.
Just to show you guys what Etro's talking about, that the 11th, 9th, week 6 is what we just ended here. So we have next week, then we have a off week for Thanksgiving break, and then week 9 is actually the only week of single headers besides the first week, I believe. Oh no, excuse me, I spoke. No, we do finish out with double headers here. So we do have 4 more matches, but 2 weeks of matches with 3 weeks of total time to figure out how you're going to succeed if you're one of these teams that are on the fringe or even kind of out of it is not a ton of time. So I'd expect these next couple weeks of matches to be pretty exciting.
Yes, for sure.
But
And on that note, I think that is it for the stream for today. And we will see everybody here on the 16th of November for Rising Star Week 7.
Through time and space to find my voice.